In addition to adequate notice, under the Open Public Meetings Act, electronic notice of this remote public meeting, as is permitted under NJSA 1049.3, was placed on the City of Newark website. Members of the public can make public comments by audio or by audio and video as permitted by the Zoom electronic communication platform. Now, while in this Zoom meeting, press on raise hand on the bottom left corner of your computer screen or mobile device. Raise hand allows participants to notify the host that they would like to speak without interrupting them. If you are calling in, press star 9 on your telephone to raise your hand. The Central Planning Board will be mindful of the number of items on the agenda and will move as expeditiously as possible to complete the agenda. However, due to the amount of developments requiring board review and the complexity of projects, it may not be possible to hear every item if the meeting runs later than 11 p.m. In the event that the agenda is not completed by 11 tonight, the board will finish hearing the applications that are in the process of listening to, but no new application will be called after that item is complete. Any application that was not heard by that time will be rescheduled to the earliest available date, which will be announced on the record if possible. Central Planning Board will now come to order. Madam Secretary, roll call.
Commissioner Jordan, we have is absent. Commissioner Byers,
Present.
Commissioner Purdy,
Present.
Commissioner Timmons, Commissioner Timmons. If you could give a thumbs up or
Turn your camera on. Thumbs up, something. Well, he's here.
yeah, okay, I'll mark him as here.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Commissioner Scott Roundtree.
Yes, it's 6:03. Am I very, very late?
No, you're on. We're doing roll call. If you
I
can
know
say
you
present.
are, so call my name so I can answer the roll.
Commissioner Scott Roundtree,
Here.
Commissioner De Silva,
Here.
Commissioner James,
Here.
Commissioner Austin. We have is absent. Co-chair Witcher,
Here.
Chair Richardson.
Here.
We have a quorum, Chair.
Thank you. Let's get started. And we're going to move the agenda around a little bit. We're going to start with item number 4, which is CPB 25-34, which is 208-210 South 8th Street. And it is a subdivision.
Chair, we're not doing the extensions?
Oh, I'm sorry. Extensions. My bad.
2 extensions.
Let's go with the extensions first. CPB 22-36. Mr. Velosi.
Good evening, everyone. Noemi Velosi on CPB 22-36. Mr. Chairman, we're asking for a 1-year extension. My client had various delays due to financing, and then it was compliance issues. I believe that from our last conversation, he's now ready to proceed. In other words, he's completed all the compliance, and we're able to start construction.
Understood. Board, any questions or comments on this extension?
Yeah, what is that, 1 year or 2 years?
1 year.
1 year.
Hearing none. Any persons from the public wishing to speak?
Seeing none at this time,
In
Chair.
that case, I need a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Roundtree, second by Commissioner Byers. Roll call, Madam Secretary.
Commissioner Purdy,
Yes.
Commissioner De Silva,
Yes.
Commissioner Baez,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott Roundtree,
Yes.
Commissioner Timmons,
Absent.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Co-chair Witcher,
Yes.
Chair Richardson.
Yes. The extension has been approved. Good luck.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good
Let's
night.
move to CPB 21-05, which is 88-90 Walnut Street. And Ms. Carol Perez.
Okay. I believe we have someone from her office representing the applicant. Ms.
Okay.
Christina.
Good evening. Can you see me?
Yes.
Thank you. So good evening, board. My name is Cristina Diaz Salcedo of Conofoli. I am here on behalf of 8890 Walnut Street Urban Renewal LLC, the owner and applicant of the property located at 8890 Walnut Street in connection with the previously granted land use approval CPV 2105. Tonight, we're respectfully requesting a 2-year extension of the approvals originally granted on April 19, 2021, and memorialized by resolution on May 3rd, 2021. A 1-year extension was subsequently granted by the board on February 5th, 2024, extending the approval through February 5th, 2025. The applicant continues to work towards finalizing compliance and securing financing. However, additional time is needed to complete this process. Therefore, we respectfully request that the board grant a 2-year extension of the existing land use approval. Thank you for your time.
Commissioners, any questions or comments? Hearing none. Any questions or comments from the public?
Seeing none at this time, Chair.
In that case, I need a motion.
So move.
To approve the.
Second,
Moved by Commissioner James, second by Co-Chair Witcher. Roll call, Madam Secretary.
Commissioner De Silva,
Yes.
Commissioner Baez,
yes.
Commissioner Scott Roundtree,
Yes.
Commissioner Purdy,
No.
Commissioner Timmons,
Yes.
okay, Commissioner James,
Yes.
Co-Chair Witcher,
Yes.
Chair Richardson.
Yes, the extension has been approved. Good luck.
Thank you.
Let's move to CPB 25-13, which is 96-120 Roanoke Avenue.
You
And
wanna, Chair,
what I missed?
you wanna do number 4 first, the subdivision?
Yeah, I thought we were doing. Oh, you're right.
Yeah. You wanna do number 4?
Okay. All right.
Oh.
Thank you.
Okay.
CPB 25-34, which is 208-210 South 8th Street.
There we go.
Good evening. I have my surveyor on as well, if he's needed. His name is Herbert McDonald.
He should be joining us now, Ms. Ward.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. McDonald, if you can turn your, thank you. All right.
Yep, floor is yours.
All right. Good evening, board members. My name is Kiana Woolridge, and I'm an attorney with the law offices of Shabazz and Woolridge. Tonight, I represent the applicant, Hassana Shaw. The applicant is seeking a minor subdivision approval to create 2 lots from a property located at 208-210 South 8th Street, Block 1799, Lot 47. There are no variances or waivers that are being requested for tonight's approval. All residents and businesses within a 200-foot radius of this project have been properly notified, and a notice was placed in the Star Ledger at least 10 days before this meeting. We are in receipt of the city staff's report as well as the city surveyor comments and intend to make the recommended adjustments to the survey. And tonight, the only witness I intend to call is the applicant's surveyor, Mr. Herbert McDonald. If I can proceed.
Yes, let's get him sworn in, Mr. Beck. You're muted, sir.
No. Good evening, Mr. Herbert. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give this board shall be truthful?
I do.
Thank you. Please state your name and affiliation for the record.
My name is Herbert George MacDonald, professional land surveyor.
Okay. Can I,
Let's
okay.
get his credentials and his licenses.
Mr. McDonald, are you a licensed surveyor here in the state of New Jersey?
That's correct.
How long have you been a licensed surveyor?
Since 1989.
Is your license current?
That's correct.
You're accepted by the board. Please continue.
Thank you. Mr. McDonald, can you share your screen with the board?
Could you repeat, please?
Are you able to share your screen with the board?
No, not at all.
All right, can you provide testimony in reference to the subdivision on lot 208-210 South 8th Street?
Yes.
Can you proceed?
I did a boundary and topographic survey back in September of 2020, and the minor subdivision was done in May of 2021. This property was a 50 feet wide by 100 foot deep. So it's been now trying to get it subdivided into two equal lots, 2,500 square feet each. It is, of course, fronting on 8th Street and South 8th Street, front on South 8th Street. And there are other lots in the block. In that block, there are about 37 lots which are just about 25 feet wide. So this will just join others.
All right, have you had a chance to review the surveyor's comments from the city?
Yes, I did.
All right, do you plan to do the recommended revisions to the survey to comply with the city's recommendations?
Oh, yes, that will be done.
All right, I have no further comments or questions.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions or comments about this subdivision? Hearing none. Any questions or comments from the public?
Seeing none at this time,
In
Chair.
that case, I need a motion.
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner. I didn't catch the second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Roundtree. Roll call, Madam Secretary.
Commissioner Baez,
Yes.
Commissioner Timmons,
Pat, absent.
Commissioner De Silva,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott Roundtree,
Yes.
Commissioner Purdy,
Yes.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Co-Chair Witcher,
Present not voting.
Chair Richardson.
Yes. Subdivision has been approved. Good luck.
Thank you.
Let's move to number 6 on the agenda. CPB 25-42. And this is another subdivision. All right.
All right. Am I audible? Okay. Good evening, members of Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Madam Secretary, my name is Steve Hockaday. I'm the attorney for the applicant, Alston Golden, on the behalf of Golden and Sons. We appear before you tonight seeking minor subdivision approval for the property located at block 2616, lots 1 and 2. The address is 19-21 Kent Street. The applicant proposes to subdividing the existing 2 lots into 2 lots faced on a different street. And the idea behind that is typically in the city, homes are designed narrow and long when the lots are slightly undersized. The goal here is to create two beautiful homes that appear somewhat like single-family homes, although they will be two-family homes. So we complied with all the notice requirements from the city. We also are in receipt of the memorandum from the city and notes from the surveyor, which we are fully prepared to comply with all the notes and satisfy that. Our sole witness tonight is our architect, George is on. Did you see him, Mr. Fernandez, George Fernandez?
He's here.
Okay, great. So we'll get him qualified by the board and proceed.
Mr. Beck,
Good evening, Mr. Fernandez. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give this board shall be truthful?
I do.
Thank you. Please state your name and affiliation for the record.
Jorge Fernandez, Fernandes, registered architect, business address 75 Parkhurst Street, Newark, New Jersey.
your license still current, sir?
Yes, it is.
You're accepted by the board.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Fernandez, please provide the testimony regarding site layout, building design, the configuration, and so forth, and provide a justification for the variances that we're seeking tonight.
Certainly. Okay, here is the page S1 of the submitted set, where we are showing the existing conditions of the two properties, lot 1 and 2, street numbers 19 and 21, facing Kent Street. The parcel size, you have one lot 1, that's 25 by 100.5, and lot number 20, street number 21, lot 2, it's a width of 22 feet by also 100.5. What we're proposing to do is to subdivide the lots facing Brenner Street rather than Kent Street, and therefore create two properties that are effectively 50 feet, 50.5 feet by 46.01 feet for an area of 2,325 square feet. And that will be the proposed lot 1.02. And 50 feet by 47 feet for a lot area of 2,338 square feet. And that will be proposed lot 1.01 on the corner of Kent and Brenner Street. Obviously, they're slightly undersized. The 2,500 square feet is required for a two-family home. But as things stand today, we still have undersized lot that for at least one of the lots is undersized for the construction of a two-family home. The proposed site plan, I'm showing here on my S2 page, which again, we will be facing Brenner Street as opposed to Kent Street with our entrance as well as garage. And the first house over here on the corner, instead of having a rear yard per se, you will have a side yard, which would be a grass area that is 12 foot 7 inches in width. And the other house in the further into the property will have also a side yard that's 13 foot 1 inch. And those side yards really are meant to be used as the rear yard for the property, for the tenants to be able to have a green space. That's also where the trash enclosure will be, and the HVAC enclosures will be. Where typically in two-family construction in Newark, where we have a lot that's 25 by 100, those amenities are in the back or in the rear. In this case, we are on the side. The rear will have a 3'8", 4-foot setback, as well as a 3 foot and 3'5" setback for the other house. And we will be incurring a variance there because obviously 30% of the rear yard needs to be 30% of the lot length So we're obviously need a variance there. I believe we're complying with the front yard setback, as the neighboring property to the west has a frontage on the property line, as do we. We are showing a frontage of our garage on the property line. So I believe we're in keeping with the streetscape there on Brenner Street. The proposed house is 34 feet in width by 41 foot in depth. And I can go over the floor plans right after I go over the trees. We'll be able to plant 4 trees on Brenner Street and 1 tree on Kent Street, shade trees, sidewalk shade trees. And we can also plant 2 on-site trees on each of the properties on the side yard. So you'll have 2 trees in your side yard for each of the houses. The floor plan I could get into now on the A1 of the submitted floor plans. Again, we'll have a 2-car garage in tandem. As now, I believe only 1 car is required for a 2-family home. We're providing 2 spaces in tandem. And of course, the front entrance of the house, where you have your front door all the way to the left, that gives access to a 573 square foot recreation area that is interiorly connected to the 2nd floor apartment. So these are meant to be used in conjunction. And this is really the only entrance for this apartment. You have this door here to the left that gives you access to both the 1st floor as well as the 2nd floor. And then there's another door that gives access to stairs that give you access to the 3rd floor apartment. And the reason we do that is to have separate entrances for each of the apartments, so that we don't have to install a sprinkler system per the building code. The 2nd floor plan is a 3-bedroom unit. It has a kitchen, living room, it has 2 baths, and it has a laundry closet. And of course, the stair that goes back down to the rec space and to the garage. And then we have the 3rd floor plan, which is a 3-bedroom, and it has also 2 baths, living, dining, and a kitchen, and a laundry closet. We have here the elevation. Again, we have front elevation with the 2 doors, a stucco finish, and we'll also have stucco finish on the on Kent Street. So both of street-facing elevations will have stucco finish. The other side and rear will have vinyl siding. And we're providing ample windows to comply with the glazing requirements of the city on both houses. This is the house that's further into the property, that is not fronting on the street on 2 sides. And therefore, we only have the stucco finish on the front and vinyl siding on the sides and rear. Again, but we are complying with the glazing requirement on this house as well for all of the elevations. That pretty much concludes my testimony to the project. I'm open to any questions.
Any questions?
Commissioners, questions or comments? I have a question, Mr. Fernandez. Did you say something about what did you say about the sprinklers? You found a way not to have to put in sprinklers? Is that what I heard you say, or you said that you found a way to put in sprinklers?
It's a code requirement. We will not be installing a sprinkler system because we have 2 separate entrances for each of the apartments.
Oh, so that allows you not to have to put in sprinklers? Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Did you put up a color rendering?
I have one, yes.
Yeah, put it up.
the houses side by side, again with different colors. One has a lighter stucco finish, the other one has a darker stucco finish. And again, this is the grass on the side yards that are effectively the rear yard of the of the home.
Chair.
Mr. James.
Yeah, Mr. Fernandez, what type of material is that on the exterior?
That is a stucco finish.
The entire exterior is all stucco?
Yeah, we'd have some masonry, brick masonry on the stairs and also on the around the garage door.
Got it. You have anything a rear rendering of this?
No, just the
Just
front.
the front.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's no exterior fencing, correct?
We'll have fencing in the rear of the building, but not in the front.
And what type of fencing is that?
In the rear will be the privacy fence, 5-foot vinyl as permitted by the zoning ordinance.
And there's no retaining wall.
No retaining wall.
Thank you.
And the back is vinyl siding, right? So
yes. Yes, the rear. If in this case we're looking at the front, the rear would be vinyl siding. The side on Brenner of this house here, of Kent. I'm sorry. The other side of Kent will also be the same stucco finish.
Okay.
All right, commissioners, any other questions or comments?
Chair, if Mr. Hockaday, if you could just mark this exhibit as A1.
Okay.
Certainly.
Thank you.
All right, hearing none, any questions or comments from the public?
Seeing none at this time, Chair.
In that case, I need a motion.
Motion.
Second. Moved by Commissioner Roundtree, second by Commissioner Purdy. Roll call, Madam Secretary.
Commissioner Byers,
Yes.
Commissioner Timmons,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott Roundtree,
Yes.
Commissioner Purdy.
Yes.
Commissioner De Silva,
Yes.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Co-Chair Richard. Okay, we have a thumbs
yes.
up. Chair Richardson.
Yes. Your application has been approved. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's move back to number 3 on the agenda. CPB 25-13, which is 96-120 Roanoke Avenue. Joseph Paparo.
Good evening.
Floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners. Joe Papero from Porzio, Bromberg, and Newman on behalf of the applicant 96 RFN LLC. There should be a number of other team members, Paul Winters and William Hamilton, if they could be admitted as well. While we're waiting, Chairman, I'll give a very brief overview. This is an application for the property at 96-126 Roanoke Avenue. It's block 5005, lot 4 on the City of Newark tax map. This property is located in the I-3 heavy industrial zone. We are before you this evening seeking preliminary and final site plan approval and conditional use authorization. There are some variances related to the proposal. The applicant is proposing to utilize this property for truck and trailer parking and storage, which is a conditionally permitted use in the I-3 zone. We meet all of the required conditions of the code. There are some variances that have been noted by your professionals and consultants, as well as the city departments, which we're prepared to address this evening. This site has undergone full environmental remediation. The current asphalt cap was the environmental control that was required to complete the environmental remediation of both soils and groundwater. There is only remaining monitoring wells, which will continue to monitor the condition of the property. The environmental remediation was done under the supervision of an LSRP, that's the licensed professional in the state of New Jersey. We have received an RAO from the state of New Jersey for the environmental remediation. And as you'll hear this evening, Chairman and Commissioners, the proposal is to make some minor modifications to the site to render it appropriate for the proposed use. Those improvements include extensive perimeter landscaping and new fencing. There are some lighting modifications and upgrades, which you'll hear from our professionals. As I've noted, I've received reports from the various city departments as well as your consultants, and we are prepared to respond to those items this evening. For my first witness, Chairman, I'd like to call Paul Winters. He is the civil engineer who prepared the site plan that's before you tonight.
Let's get him sworn in, Mr. Beck.
Yes. Good evening, Mr. Winters. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give this board shall be truthful?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Please state your name and affiliation to this application.
Yes, my name is Paul Winters, Paulwinters. I'm employed by Bowman Consulting. We are the site engineer employed. We prepared the site plans that were submitted for this application.
Mr. Winters, for the benefit of the board and public, your education, area of expertise, and the licenses you hold, sir?
Yes, I hold a Bachelor of Science degree in Civil and Environmental Engineering from Rutgers University. I'm a licensed New Jersey professional engineer. I've been licensed since 2006. My license is currently in good standing. I have over 20 years of experience as a consulting engineer. I've previously been qualified to offer professional testimony in several municipalities, including Hackensack, Parsippany Troy Hills, Mount Arlington, Bridgewater, Bound Brook, and numerous others.
And your license is currently in good standing as a civil engineer in New Jersey?
Yes, it is.
You're accepted by the board. Please continue.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Winters, the board obviously has the plans, the site plans that were submitted. If you could share your screen and walk the board and the public through the proposal. If there's any new exhibits, please do not provide any testimony until we mark those documents into evidence.
All right, I would be happy to speak about this project. And in addition to the site plan submitted for record, I do have two exhibits which I'd like to use to speak briefly about the site. So if possible, I'd like to share my screen to show one of those two exhibits at this time. Let me pull that up right now. Okay, so let me just adjust one thing. Very good.
This is an aerial, Mr. Winters, an aerial of the site in question?
Yes, this is titled Existing Conditions Aerial for 96 to 126 Roanoke Avenue. This depicts aerial mapping upon which we identify our project site. This is prepared by our office, dated, bear with me while I zoom in, dated today, August 18th, 2025. And exhibit number, go ahead, sir.
Is it Exhibit A1? Is that appropriate? Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. One moment. So as I mentioned, this is an aerial exhibit from NearMap, which is an online resource that shows generally very recent aerial imagery. So this is current. The yellow line around the perimeter of the site is to identify where our property is located. As you could see, we have two frontages of this street. To the north, we have Roanoke Avenue as our primary frontage. To the east, we also have a limited frontage of approximately 40 linear feet of frontage on Foundry Street. Our frontage on Roanoke is about 400 feet. We're adjacent to a few other lots. There's a lot immediately to our northeast with an industrial use on it that separates us from the intersection of Roanoke Avenue and Foundry Street. We're also adjacent to an industrial property immediately to our south, which has a truck operation and vehicle storage, which you can clearly see from this image. And we're also adjacent to a Conrail railroad right-of-way immediately to our west, and other industrial uses in that neighborhood too. Beyond that, I'll also note there's an on-ramp directly to US 1 and 9 to our north, right here off of Roanoke Avenue. As was mentioned, I believe in the opening, but I'll mention for record, we are in the I-3 heavy industrial district. The existing use today is, as you can see, it's a vacant site. It has been capped in accordance with environmental remediation requirements. And our proposed use will be to put a truck trailer parking facility on this previously capped site. The overall site area, just also for record, is approximately 3.29 acres. And as you can see, it's been capped, so the majority of the site has a paved cap upon it. So that's just a quick overview of the existing condition of this property. I have a secondary exhibit I'll bring up in a moment, which is a similar exhibit, but it's for the proposed condition, which I assume we're going to sign in as Exhibit A2 in a moment. Here is that exhibit now. Exhibit A2, okay for this?
Yes, thank you.
This is titled Site Plan Rendering, also prepared August 18th, 2025. Using the same yellow boundary to identify the outer boundary limit. And as you can see, in the center part of the site, the paved cap remains. We're seeking to stripe it and make it available for the truck trailer parking facility proposed on the site. Other improvements that are included with this include site lighting. You can see we've identified those lighting locations scattered through the site. I could zoom in just a little bit for the benefit of the board seeing this exhibit there. That might be easier. I also want to note with this, and we'll talk about this a little bit more shortly, we are proposing some other improvements. We're proposing, and many of these are in accordance with the zoning standards. A new decorative fence, which is a zone standard, is proposed along the frontage of the site. There's existing chain link fence that will be replaced along the frontage with that decorative fence pursuant to the detail provided in the submitted plans. Most of the perimeter chain link fence will remain except for where we're replacing along the adjacent property to our northeast. We are proposing a number of trees in accordance with both the street tree and the shade or on-site tree requirements. One departure from the submitted plan, we have in this exhibit added additional trees than depicted in the submitted plan. Just want to bring attention to that. It was mentioned in the planner's memorandum, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but also picked up in the engineer's memorandum, which we received Friday, that additional trees are required along the two frontages to comply. So we've increased the plantings along Roanoke Avenue for street trees. We've added, we're having a difficult time fitting them on Foundry Street. We only have 40 feet. We can physically fit one. We're required to have two. We may work out with the board's professionals if we could add that extra one either at another appropriate location on Foundry or on the Roanoke frontage, as there's a concrete apron for driveways immediately adjacent to and along our frontage, which I'll talk about on Foundry Street in a bit. Beyond that, we're also showing additional trees along the inner perimeter. We are seeking to comply with all the requirements for the quantity of trees that have been identified in the town's memos. And as you can see, we're also looking to green up the perimeter of the site, which also helps us meet some other standards in this zone. So that's a very simple overview of the site as proposed. As mentioned, we're going to have compliant site lighting. The landscaping effectively is our tree plan here. We are proposing to improve or supplement driveways to the site. We are proposing two separate driveways along Roanoke Avenue, an ingress and an egress. We have split them up because of the location of some utility poles along the frontage, which made it a little challenging to line up appropriate locations for truck access. There's some variances we'll be talking about regarding that shortly. But there is today one access point, which is actually to the east of those, which we'll be replacing with these new access points with aprons. On the Foundry side, there is an existing driveway, which we'll be replacing with a one-way out, as we felt that was the most appropriate way to work circulation on the site. see, what did I miss? There's no, I covered that already, sorry. Just to note, there are no permanent buildings proposed with this application. As you can see, this is simply a parking facility only. There is room for available parking for other vehicles as needed on the east side of the site. That is the bulk of the specifics on those site improvements.
Mr. Winters, you
Yes.
received the reports from the board's consultants and the city departments?
Yes, we have.
And I know there's just some extensive comments from the engineer. Rather than taking the board's time going through each item, if there's any items that require a response, if you could please provide that. I know we have our planner coming up next to address the variances, but from an engineering standpoint, please highlight whatever items require further discussion between yourself and the board's consultants.
Yes, I'd be happy to. And I know what I was going to mention just before getting into that. There were a couple items from the professionals' letters which did seek some specific testimony, which for record I may just briefly put up. And then to that point, Mr. Papero, I also have a summary list of variances. I don't know if you want me to wait until I go through the letters or touch on that right after I go through the remaining testimony points.
Yeah,
I
Mr.
can
Winters, if
do
you
either
could,
way.
yeah, if you could identify the variances. I know Mr. Hamilton will provide the planning justification shortly, but I know you talked about the driveways on Roanoke, which were done in that configuration due to the utility pole. That does require relief as noted by the board's consultants.
It does, and I will try and be brief on those. I do want to make sure I emphasize the point that we are a conditional use in this zone, and with our ability to provide the additional trees, which was one of the questions in the planner's memo, we can comply with all the conditions for this conditional use. So the listing I have here of variances, most of which can be considered as design waivers, but we'll call them variances for the sake of discussion, are all minor. They are not conditional use items. So let me just get through that list here. And they're kind of broken down in a category too. A couple of them have to do with landscaping. And I think I have them grouped. So here we go. There are 10 identified in total. Many of them are interrelated. So on the landscaping front, we are seeking relief where a minimum of 50% of the parking area is required to be shaded after 15 years. However, it's anticipated that our available planting locations, which are limited because of the site cap, are going to result in less than 50% shade of the site. Another item we're seeking relief from is where a minimum of 15% of parking area is required to be landscaped. Based on our calculations, the perimeter plantings were achieving approximately 10%. Number 3, where a minimum of 1/10 of the parking area is required to be landscaped with planting material reasonably distributed throughout the parking area as opposed to on the perimeter. We're proposing landscape only along the perimeter, and again, that's related to the capping requirements. So those 3 are related to landscape. The following are related to the driveways, where a one-way commercial driveway is permitted to be a maximum width of 12 feet. And all 3 of our driveways are proposed to be one-way. We are not proposing 12 feet. We're proposing wider striping of 20 feet, and which is really to facilitate truck movements. Number 5, where a one-way commercial driveway is permitted to be a maximum width of 12 feet, we're providing the physical width of the 2 driveways along Roanoke Avenue to be, one of them will be 24 feet and the other will be 32. They're striped narrower, but they're paved a little wider. Number 6, where a maximum of 2 driveways are permitted to a subject lot, we propose 3 driveways. And I noted the reason we have an additional driveway. It's because of the distances with utility poles and trying to accommodate the turning movements. Moving on, there are 4 minor variances or waivers we're seeking regarding illumination levels. And those are variances 7 through 10. Number 7, where a minimum illumination level of off-street parking areas are required to be no less than 1 foot candle. There's one location, and I believe it's in the northwest of the site, that is a little short. It's 0.9 instead of 1.0 foot candle. Number 8, where minimum illumination levels of access driveways are required to be no less than a half-foot candle. We're proposing a few isolated locations where there's a minimum 0.2 foot candle. Those are along the driveways out or in. Number 9, where maximum allowable illumination levels at a property line next to a non-residential use are required to be no more than 1 foot candle. The project proposes a maximum of 2 foot candles. I believe that is along our south boundary. And lastly, there is a minimum spacing requirement for light poles of 2.5 times the pole height. In our case, that equates a minimum spacing of 75 feet. Right here in this area of the site, to facilitate a functioning lighting plan, we ended up being a little bit closer with these poles. They're approximately 50 feet. For the board's consideration, I do want to note it may be possible to improve on some of those lighting conditions in particular, but we received these comments just the other day and weren't able to confidently say if we could improve upon those. So we're respectfully seeking relief for those minor deviations.
Thank you, Mr. Winters. Can you now just turn again to the reports? Any items that you're not going to specifically address, the board and public can assume that we will comply. So if you could just, for purposes of time, identify the items that require a response or further dialogue with the consultants.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just realized I was still sharing the screen and I was flipping all over the place. I was looking for, here's my letter. I may actually stop the share just for a moment if that's okay, because I have another document with some of these on a list and I don't want to make everyone motion sick while I seek about for them here. Yes, so there are a couple of exceptions or items we did want to note that we of course intend to work with the board's professionals to try and address everything we can, but there's a few items that we believe are either in a different category or either they're not applicable or maybe there's a solution that we could work through that doesn't require relief. As I noted, there's requirements for a number of trees to be planted. It was noted in the board engineer's memo that a higher number of trees are required on site of 26, which the exhibit we presented provides 17. We can provide the 26 that are required under a different provision noted in the engineer's letter. So that's an exception, but that's a good one because that provides additional trees. There was a request in the engineer's letter to provide extensive turning movements for on-site truck access and circulation, which we can provide, but we did not intend on providing one for every parking spaces. I believe the engineer requested. We'll clarify that with them, but just want to note that exception will provide adequate circulation plans that for access to the site, not for every space. There was another comment in the engineer's letter. Oh, I'm sorry. The last comment was parking and traffic comment 2I for record. Parking and traffic comment 2, Roman numeral 3. The board engineer suggested we obtain written permission from the adjacent railroad owner for our improvements, which we do not believe should be required as they're noticed like everybody else is noticed on an application, and especially in light of our limited site improvements. So again, just want to call attention to that. There was a couple of comments from the engineer asking to clarify locations for a dumpster pad or an enclosure. Given our limited use on the site, we anticipate garbage cans, trash, smaller enclosures will be needed. We won't need a dedicated enclosure area for them for trash service. So I just wanted to clarify that. That is a couple of them. One moment. I had one more in here at least.
Mr. Winters, while you're looking for that, it was my understanding that there was a recommendation for sidewalk. I believe that comment requires a response. There was a competing comment for additional landscaping, which you've addressed, and it's my understanding that those two recommendations may not be consistent. So can you speak to the request for sidewalk and why we're seeking to not include sidewalk along the frontage?
Yeah, yes, I can. And I'm just going to share that exhibit A2 we had up before again. In speaking with the applicant, it was decided to prioritize the landscape tree requirements. As you could see along Roanoke Avenue, which is the frontage where the separate request for suggestion for sidewalk was made. We're going to be putting a fair number of trees in that area to help comply with that requirement, which makes it a little more challenging to also try and accommodate sidewalk. We do observe that there is an existing sidewalk along the other side of Roanoke, which is good because it means there is sidewalk serving the neighborhood. From the applicant's perspective, they wanted to prioritize the trees, which we thought made more sense. So we were trying to put that ahead of the need for perhaps additional sidewalk, and that was the approach we were taking with this application.
Thank you, Mr. Winters. There will be curbing, which was recommended by the city engineer, correct?
Yes, that was a recommendation of the engineer to replace the curbing on Roanoke. I've seen the curbing on Roanoke. I would agree with that recommendation. That combined with the new driveways, I think that will, and the landscaping and the fence, I think that will be a significant improvement for this property. So I agree with that recommendation. Forgive me, it was a decent length letter. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything important. There was some additional testimony, Mr. Paparo, I did also want to briefly touch on, which did come from that letter. And here it is. And I can speak to it on this exhibit. One item was the chain link fence along the front, which I believe I've touched on. We're going to replace our chain link fence along the front with the decorative fence in accordance with the ordinance. There's existing off-site fence along our west side, which is on the railroad property, which we're not proposing to touch because it's on the railroad property. We already have a fence along this boundary that also is responding to a question of the engineer's letter, where he sought some testimony from us for the board's consideration. As noted, the site has been remediated. There are existing monitoring wells in the site, which will remain, and the owner will maintain them for compliance with remediation and regulatory purposes. For record, there is an existing access easement along our southern boundary. It's a 24-foot wide access for the benefit of the neighboring property. It's split right down the middle of that property line. That's going to remain. It's not going to be affected by these improvements. That was the reason I have found a challenge putting an additional tree out front because there's an apron for that. But the engineer was seeking clarification that would remain and what that was. And that's simply an easement to permit access to the adjacent neighbor. There is an existing retaining wall along the northeast property line, which is to remain in place. It is honestly unclear if that is the applicant's or the neighbor's, but it's going to remain unchanged. Our applicant is replacing the fence on their property, on their side of that wall. Our applicant is on the high side of the wall. It's a couple feet high at most, but that wall is remaining as is otherwise. Outside of our identified trailer areas, there's no other dedicated loading or unloading areas. That was a clarification the engineer was seeking, as there's no other building or other loading purpose. It's all in the spaces. So those were some points of testimony the engineer wanted us to get on record. And outside of that, we will be speaking with the engineer regarding questions he had about stormwater management matters. Just for record, as noted, there are a few physical site improvements. The cap is existing. I'll be reviewing that with the engineer as we believe we comply with the stormwater standards as written with this application, as our disturbances are limited to effectively the perimeter landscaping of the site.
Mr. Winters, anything else in the engineering report before we just move on?
Those are the primary ones I have, so I think we can move on at this point. Thank you, Mr. Barbaro.
You also received the planner's report. No objections to those items. I believe you confirmed on the record that we will comply with the shade tree and landscaping requirements, and those are the conditions of the conditional use, correct?
That is correct. We will comply with those conditions of the conditional use. We're going to provide the number of trees recommended per the planner's letter, as well as additional trees per the engineer's letter. The planner's letter identified the one variance needed for the pole spacing, which I already mentioned in my list of variances. The other two variances they identified we're resolving. Those were related to the trees. We will review so we can demonstrate compliance with the sight line and site visibility at the driveways with the landscaping plan. We can take care of that as a condition of approval. And we, as noted, we are seeking the relief from exceeding light spillage on the adjacent property. We will certainly look at that as we finalize plans to see if there is anything that can be done to improve what there is, but what is proposed. But as it is, we are still seeking that relief in the event we can't improve upon it.
Okay. Okay.
But those are the keys from the planner memo.
Chairman, I have nothing further for this witness. We do have our planner to just address those variances that were noted by Mr. Winters.
Yeah, in a second, we'll get to him. Commissioner, Mr. Trafficante, let's get him sworn in. Mr. Beck.
Mr. Travacani, you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give this board shall be truthful?
I do.
Thank you. Just state your name and affiliation, please.
My name is Charles Trafficante. I am a principal engineer and a professional engineer. I am in the employment of the City of Newark Department of Engineering. My license is active and in good standing with the state board.
Floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Winters, in regard to the Department of Engineering's report to the board, all right. Do you think you have at least 10 feet between your property line and the curb line along Roanoke?
I think we have 10. I can double check that if you're willing to give me one moment. I think we have approximately 10 feet at the most along that frontage.
All right, well, would your client be willing to put in a 5-foot wide sidewalk if they can fit it after consulting not with only with the Department of Engineering, but also with the city arborist? For example, a 4-foot wide tree pit, 8 foot long may be acceptable, but based upon the recommendations of the city arborist, that will leave you at least 5 feet to put in a 5-foot wide sidewalk. Is that something your client can do?
That is something we'll need to speak with them about. We're conferring right now. Yes, that is something our applicant can comply with. They can provide the additional sidewalk.
All right, provide access not just to this property, but the neighboring property to the northeast. So, second issue, you mentioned a minimum of, correct me if I'm wrong, you're requesting a relief for not meeting the minimum light intensity at the access drives?
One moment. I'm sorry, Mr. Trafficante. I just want to confirm we're going to be providing sidewalk along our frontage of Roanoke, correct?
Will be Roanoke, and I think that we also asked for it for the 40 feet on Foundry as well.
We can provide connecting sidewalk on yes, we can provide the Foundry side because that is apron and a little bit of frontage. So, okay, thank you. I just wanted that clarification, sir. Thank you.
Both Roanoke and Foundry, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now,
Yes.
are you still requesting relief for not meeting the minimum light intensity at the access drives? Is that something you can look at and see if you can provide another light?
We're seeking the relief because I would like to see if we can comply with it, but I was not able to verify in advance of the hearing if we can. And for the benefit of the board, I'd rather seek the relief, and then regardless, I can still see if we can improve upon it. I would like to. I've run into this before where we can make an adjustment and meet it. It's generally de minimis. I think we have it occurring in a few places.
Well, the concern is obvious. We're worried about public safety. Any employees walking to or from work, especially at night, especially now that you agreed to put in a sidewalk, or somebody gets hit, either a pedestrian or another motorist, especially since your driveway is right across from the on-ramp to, was it, routes 1 and 9? So it only makes sense before you kill someone with a truck that you put more lights there.
We would be happy to analyze the lighting and see if we could make improvements to that. Again, for the board's benefit, since it's something I don't know if I can guarantee if we can comply everywhere, we would still be seeking the relief, but we will certainly look at it.
Well, it'd be only the 3 driveways, the entrance in and the exit out to Roanoke and the exit out to Foundry, if you don't already meet it at Foundry.
And that's to have a minimum, Mr. Traffic. Okay.
0.5 foot candles.
Correct. So you're looking for us to increase it?
Yeah, the minimum required.
Yeah, I think the applicant has no objection to working with you to ensure that we meet that.
All right, and the last point, again, I know the site's been capped, but stormwater requires, and my stormwater engineer, you know, before you just paint with a broad brush, you got the whole site capped with blacktop. Problem is, I don't know where all this stormwater is going to run off to. You may be required to put curbing around the perimeter of your parking lot rather than allow it to flow into the neighbor's lots, especially since this is a contaminated site. We're looking at tractor trailers. We're worried about diesel fuel, gas, motor oil, antifreeze, all that good stuff. All right. So we make a bad situation worse. Your client's going to have to take some active measures to collect all stormwater from within the project site, since it's all impervious. And rather than let it flow over land to the adjoining lots to the south and to, I guess, the west, is it? Even though it's a railroad, you're going to be needed to catch that, collect that. Also, there's requirements for curbing or wheel stops in the city ordinance. But wheel stops don't stop stormwater. Curbing would be more practical in this application. Is that something your client would be willing to do?
That's something we need to review with them. I'd be happy to speak with you about it in better detail. Apologies, we weren't able to reach out between in advance of the meeting. As I know we're coming here at an existing condition where the capping has been completed and whatever was related to those improvements was completed. But nonetheless, I'd be happy to speak with you about them in greater detail and
Well,
see what we can do.
That's a city requirement. You are required to collect and control all stormwater runoff within your site. So no matter how much we talk, I don't see how you're going to be able to get around that, especially with my stormwater engineer.
Okay, well then if we need to add curbing to achieve that or make other improvements to achieve it, we will do that.
All right. All right. No further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trafficante. Commissioner James, you still got your hand up?
Mr. Trafficante addressed my issues. Thank you, Chair.
Excellent. Commissioners, any other questions or comments for Mr. Winters? Hearing none. Next witness.
Thank you very much. Our next and final witness is William Hamilton, our professional planner.
Good evening, Mr. Hamilton. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give this board shall be truthful?
I do, and good evening.
Thank you. Please state your name and affiliation to this application.
William Hamilton. I'm a professional planner from Bowman Consulting.
Mr. Hamilton, for the benefit of the board and public, your education, area of expertise, and the licenses you hold.
Surely, I have a Bachelor of Science in Environmental Planning and Design from Rutgers University. I'm a licensed professional planner. I'm a member of the American Institute of Certified Planners. I'm a principal at Bowman Engineering. I've been with them for 20 or so years, and prior to that, I was a principal in the firm of Allen Engineering, testified before boards throughout the state, including this board, although it's been a while.
And your licenses are currently in good standing?
They are.
You're accepted by the board. Please continue.
Thank you. Mr. Hamilton, you've reviewed the City of Newark Land Development Code as well as the master plan, and you're familiar with the I-3 zoning of this site?
I am.
As you've heard this evening, and as you're well aware, this proposed use is conditionally permitted. There are specific conditions required. Is it your professional opinion that this application meets those conditions?
I do.
You've heard the variances, the related variances that were identified by Mr. Winters. He went through a list of variance relief. As the project's planner, have you had a chance to identify and review those variance relief requests?
I have.
Do you have an opinion as to the suitability and the appropriateness of that relief based on Mr. Winters' testimony?
Yes, I do.
Continue.
So, Mr. Winters has outlined a number of variances. I think there's 10 total relating to landscaping, lighting, and in 2 cases to the driveways. I think that he's provided justification in general for each of these variances. I see them really as C2 variances, where a purpose of planning is advanced by the granting of the deviation, and the benefits that the deviation will substantially outweigh any detriments. And specifically, I'm looking at a purpose of planning of encouraging municipal action to guide appropriate use or development of lands in the state in a manner which will promote the public safety, morals, and general welfare. And in terms of the site itself, I'm also looking at a purpose of encouraging free flow of traffic. Now, this is a remediation site, as you've heard, and it has some unusual conditions which are contributing to our request for the variance relief. We've agreed, as Mr. Winters had, to add lights at the intersection to provide the 0.5-foot candle limit that your engineer and planner have requested. We've also agreed to provide sidewalks, which I think will add to the safety of the community. This is a manufacturing community, an industrial community that's located within the heart of the industrial area of Newark, and we think that what's proposed is appropriate. Each of those 10 variances have to stand up to negative criteria as well. So we find that there is no substantial detriment to the public good, and there's no substantial detriment to the intent and purpose of the zone plan and zoning ordinance. This is a permitted use. We've satisfied all the conditions of that permitted use while we're here before the planning board this evening. And certainly, we feel that the variances as requested are appropriate for you this evening.
Mr. Hamilton, thank you. Mr. Winters touched on the width of the driveways and the number of driveways and why they were configured as they are. Based on that testimony and for the safety, as you've stated, do you feel that those variances can be justified and granted?
I do.
And it's regarding lighting, Mr. Winters has agreed to increase the lighting levels at those driveway entrances, thereby eliminating some of the previously requested variance relief. It's your opinion that the project as proposed advances good planning?
It does.
Is there any items left in the reports that you feel require response? I know the board's planner is on the line and available in response to the report that she issued. Do you have any questions or responses to any of those items?
I believe that Mr. Winters addressed any of the items in his testimony. However, if Ms. Fool has any other, questions, I'm certainly here willing to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Hamilton. Chairman, I have no further direct for this witness.
Thank you so much. Commissioners, questions or comments for Mr. Hamilton? Planner.
Chair, is this in the testimony or are there additional witnesses?
We have no further witnesses, Commissioner.
So I have a couple of questions. Can you discuss the nature of the operation? How many employees, things of that nature?
Yeah, that's a great question, and we did see that in the report. So there is no specific tenant identified for this location. This is being marketed to attract a new business to the city. Obviously, they'll need to comply and fall within the parameters that if this board were inclined to approve this application, the tenant would have to comply with the required parking that we're providing or seek additional relief from this board. So this is technically a speculative application at this point for a specific end user, but we feel that we've provided a site that functions properly based on these improvements.
Okay, so if granted approval, when will you start construction? And because this is a flood zone currently, correct? Like,
I believe there is this site is located within a flood area. I believe that was one of the items that Mr. Winters agreed to investigate as a condition of this approval.
okay, so if you do find a tenant, will they have to come back before the board?
If our opinion is no, if they stay within the parameters of the application that you're considering this evening. If, for instance, they wanted to seek modifications for their intended use that require site plan approval, they'd be back before you.
Right, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Gruhl, is your hand
Thank-
up?
Yes, thank you, Mr.
Mr. Beck, let's get her sworn in.
Good evening, Ms. Gruhl. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give this board shall be truthful?
I do.
Thank you. Please state your name and affiliation for the record.
Susan Gruhl, a planning consultant to the board, licensed planner. I just have one clarification. There's a requirement about yard trucks. If there are yard trucks used to move goods or trailers around the site, they shall be zero emission or electric vehicles.
Yes. Thank you, Ms. Grill, for pointing that out. We did see that, and that is something that will have to be messaged to any prospective tenant that if they have any kind of yard equipment, it needs to comply with that code requirement. So we do appreciate that being pointed out, and ownership has already is aware of that, and will include that in their marketing materials to any potential tenant.
So that may be a condition of approval if the board so chooses. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners, any other questions or comments about anything that you heard pertaining to this application? Hearing none, are there any questions or comments from the public?
Yes, Chair, we have a few.
Okay.
Miss Natalie is with the Environmental Commission.
Okay, let's get her sworn in.
Yes.
Good evening, Ms.
Good evening.
Beyond. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give this board shall be truthful?
Yes.
Thank you. Please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name is Natalie Agosto Filion. I live at 51 Davenport in Newark. And I
Good
serve as
evening.
co-chair of the Newark Environmental Commission.
Good evening. You got 3 minutes to speak.
Thank you. I did have one clarifying question regarding the fence that was installed. I appreciate most of the comments that we're submitting in our advisory memo were addressed already, with the exception of the question about the fence along Roanoke. We had asked for there to be sort of trees there that can obscure any glare from the lights for pedestrians in that area. In case folks are not aware, I'll just state that about 500 feet away is the Hyatt Court residential neighborhood, and this is Roanoke is walking path to and from employment at the warehouse. So if the engineer can address this, or anyone from the applicants, I would appreciate it. If you'd like, I just can continue with other comments. Is that the best use of time, Mr. Richardson?
Chair, you're muted.
I'm sorry, you're muted. I can't.
Yes, just get all your questions and
Should I
comments.
just continue or should I pause for questions? Okay,
Yeah, no,
great, thank you.
just continue.
I do want to appreciate the comments made. Thank you. Apologies if there's a delay on my side. Appreciation for the comments made by the commissioner regarding the flood hazard area. I do want to note that the Department of Environmental Protection has issued a notice of substantial rule change to the resilient environments and landscapes regulation within flood hazard areas that will come into effect in January of 2026. And so a request that the applicant be in compliance with that forthcoming regulation regarding flood hazards. And then last but not least, sorry, because I don't want to forget my annotation. I was hoping for a little bit of clarification about the placement of trees at this site. Our land use regulations require that the shade cover 50% of the area of the parking lot, and I do not believe that is the case with the placement of the trees only along the periphery, so if that could be addressed as well. And with that, I yield my time. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Barrow?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. I'd like to recall Mr. Winters back to answer those two questions. I believe one was the ability to add any landscaping to further screen and shield potential headlight glare, I think was the comment. Mr. Winters, is there an opportunity for maybe some low-level shrubs or something for purposes of screening?
And I just want to clarify from the member of the public from the Environmental Commission, they were talking specifically on the Roanoke Avenue side, just so I'm clear. Oh, is she still there?
Yes, correct. On the Roanoke side. Thank you.
That is something we could look into. I know it's going to be a little challenging because we are seeking to meet all the shade tree requirements. We have landscape architects we can work with to try and make an appropriate selection in those cases. We'd like to try and do that. Whether we can fit it all in the right of way, we're going to be working with a limited space since we're doing the sidewalk as well now. We'll see what we can do. It may require us to look at some areas on our site as well. We have a little setback for that, but we could look to see if we can, specifically for the headlight glare, we'll see what we could do for that.
And then, Mr. Winters, I believe the second question dealt with flood hazard regulations and this property being in a flood zone.
Yes, and portions of this property, I don't believe its entirety, but based on the elevation of the property, portions may be within the flood hazard area. If there's any requirement, any proposed activity that would require a permit, we'll need to seek those permits. So we would, as a condition of any approval, the board may be willing to grant for this, seek the appropriate approvals from the state that comply with the flood hazard rules.
So does
Chairman, I
the
believe
applicant come back to the board at a later point? I'm unclear on that since those rules come into effect in January. Is it a matter of timing whether or not those are adhered to?
There's as far as the rules go, the rule applicable at the time is what we're required by the state to comply with. And yes, we're still waiting to see where the final date on the new rules may land. But I know if we were to file at this point, the state will, or soon, the state will apply the applicable rules. And I don't know if there's a significant difference for our particular. I guess the flood elevation is the one big question. But we're seeking those approvals soon, so we'll comply with the applicable rules. It may be the new ones depending on the timing.
All right, thank you. That's your time. Hope we answered your questions. Madam Secretary.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes, Chair, there's one more. There we are. Mr. Zhang.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Zhang. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give this board shall be truthful?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Miles Zhang, and I live in the James Street Commons Historic District in downtown Newark.
Okay, you got 3 minutes to speak. The floor is yours, sir.
Today, I'd really like to speak about what we all know is environmental racism, right? I'm really concerned about this kind of zone. So right now, the plan identified that this is an industrial zone, which is true. It is an industrial zone. But in the middle of this industrial zone, we have warehouses where people work. We also have one of the largest prisons in the state of New Jersey, which is also used as an immigration prison. So we have a prison, a sewage treatment plant in the middle of this industrial zone. And surrounding this prison, we have hundreds of acres of parking lots. And this is one more parking lot that we are already adding to hundreds of acres of parking lot in the downtown area, in the Ironbound area. And not only that, this is also identified in the planner's report as a speculative project. So in approving this project, we don't yet know how the planner will use this land use. Will it be for small cars, for large vehicles, for 50 vehicles, for 100 cars? It's a speculative project. And so given that it's a speculative project, I have trouble seeing why this project would be unable to comply with the shade tree requirement. And I also struggle to see how the applicant would be unable to provide something as simple as a sidewalk, that this project is 200 or 300 feet deep. And the requirement for a sidewalk would only take 2 or 3 feet off the northern edge of their property line to add that sidewalk. So I think we have all these terms right here about environmental racism, about redlining, about spatial inequality, about the severe health challenges that people in the American prison system face. When it comes to our planning decisions, I'm afraid that so many of those high ideals of social justice don't directly translate into the day-to-day decisions of how planning boards operate on a day-to-day basis. So I would encourage this planning board to really hold the application to account and to demand of the applicant everything that is required in the city law. And so because this is a speculative project, I think it's very much possible for this project to comply with all the shade tree requirements, as well as optionally for the applicant, a sidewalk when that's available. Because you can walk through downtown Newark or through the Newark Ironbound, and you can walk 1 or 2 miles on a Newark City street without a single sidewalk, without a single tree in Port Newark. And that doesn't give Newark a good reputation, and it's not good for economic development. It's not good for a city ultimately. So I think there are two things right here. There are the rules of planning. Planning may or may not allow this project. Chances are it will be approved. But more importantly than planning, there's a higher ethical call. And this is the ethical call for all planners, including the planners on this call. And that is the ethical call of, would you want this project in your backyard? Would you want your child or you to have a house next to this project, or next to a parking lot for hundreds of cars, or next to an area where these cars don't even have a backstop, where the water runs right off from the oily water runs right off into the median where the trees are planted? And if the answer is no, you wouldn't want this in your backyard. I think that the only sensible solution is to propose projects in other people's backyards that are held to the same high standard as any kind of parking lot in Montclair or Glen Ridge or wealthy communities would be. We're looking at northern New
Mr.
Jersey.
Bang, that's your time, sir. Thank you for your comments and your concerns, duly noted. Thank you so much.
And Chairman, just for the record, I don't know if Mr. Zhang heard the testimony, but we are providing the sidewalk and the shade trees as recommended.
Madam Secretary?
Yes, we have another member of the public on.
Okay, let's get them sworn in. Person sworn in.
Winnie Fred Victor Hines will come off of mute.
Oh. Okay, good evening, everyone.
Yes, good evening. Good evening, Ms. Hines. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give this board shall be truthful?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Please state your name and address for the record.
Winifred Victor Hines, 61 Vassar Avenue, Newark, New Jersey.
And you have 3 minutes to speak.
Excuse me?
I say you have 3 minutes to speak. The floor is yours.
I won't need that long. I just wanted to state for the record, I'm also a member of the Environmental Commission, and just wanted to state for the record that I concur with Miles and Natalie. And I came in late, so I don't know if this came up, but the applicant is listed as 96 RFN LLC. And so I would like to know who owns the LLC, and do they have a track record of environmental violations elsewhere? And will they actually invest in maintaining the site or just flip it later?
So Chairman, I can respond if you'd like.
Oh, hold on, is that complete what you wanted to say? That's your complete time? Do you have anything else you'd like to say?
Yes, that I concur, yes, with Miles and Natalie.
Okay.
And yeah, everything that they've said.
All right, thank you so much. Now, go ahead, Mr. Paparo.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you for your question. This LLC is the owner of the property and has been the owner of the property for some time. As part of the application process, we were required to disclose the ownership entity. So that's part of the application materials. And the applicant is committed to addressing the comments that were provided. Throughout this evening, the applicant did stipulate to a number of those recommendations, I believe, some of which were in the Environmental Commission report, some in the Board Engineers report and the Planner's report. Most notably, the additional landscaping, new fencing, and sidewalk. So I think the applicant owner has demonstrated a commitment to work collaboratively to ensure that this project is as advantageous as possible.
Yes, but do they have track record of environmental violations elsewhere?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, and who owns it? I mean, it's just because 96
She's
RFN LLC.
Council.
Right, but that's in their app, please, yeah, okay. But that's in their application, and so I guess you would have to Oprah that. We don't have that information on hand. And it's not a part of the planning board, what we need to do. But you can Oprah that information.
All right, thank you.
No, thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.
Madam Secretary.
That concludes everybody, Chair.
In that case, I need a motion.
Chair, so move.
Moved by Commissioner James. Is there a second? Mr. Beck, any thoughts?
We have a motion on the floor. We need a second and then a roll call. And we'll see how the vote goes. At this juncture, is there a second for? We've heard the testimony. Mr. Paparo, do you have anything briefly to say?
No, I just appreciate the board's time and the board's consultants. We took into consideration the recommendations. As you heard this evening, this is a conditionally permitted use. The applicant meets the conditions of that permitted use. The variance relief that was identified dealt with the driveway configurations and some other unique configurations due to the environmental capping. The planner justified those variances in our view. And for those reasons, we would respectfully request that this board approve this application. Again, as you've heard, this site has been completely remediated by the owner, and this is really the next phase to get this property back into being a productive, driver of business for the city of Newark.
Chairman, I'll second it.
Moved by Commissioner James and second by Commissioner Bayard. Roll call, Madam Secretary.
Commissioner Purdy. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your vote, Commissioner.
Commissioner Purdy?
Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Byers.
Yes.
Commissioner Timmons.
No.
Commissioner De Silva.
Yes.
Commissioner Scott Roundtree.
Yes.
Commissioner James.
Yes.
Co-Chair Richard.
No.
Chair Richardson.
Yes, your application has been approved. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, let's move to Number 5, CPB 25-39, which is 678-696 Doremus Avenue. And Mr. Webster. Good evening, sir. We can't hear you.
How about now?
Now we can.
Good evening. I've got a number of witnesses with me. If we could elevate them. I've got Christian Roseland from Langen and Rachel Fifield, also from Langen. And also Alan Lothian from Langen. Good evening, members. My name is Elnardo Webster. I'm a partner at the law firm of Connell Foley, located at 185 Raymond Boulevard in the city of Newark. On behalf of the applicant BV1 Logistics Acquisition LLC, we respectfully submit this request for preliminary and final approval, along with conditional use approval and associated design relief for a property located at 678-696 Doremus Avenue, also known as Block 5066, lots 30 and 30.01 on the official tax map of the city of Newark. The property is located in the I3 heavy industrial zone. The property, a 700,228 square foot site, is known as 30.01 in Block 5066. It originates on Doremus Avenue on a service road that originates near the intersection between Doremus Avenue and Delancey. It doesn't actually have any road frontage. It's a easement through Passaic Valley. The property is landlocked by Passaic Valley Sewage Commission, located at 672-696 Doremus Avenue, and abuts the Newark Waterway. As part of an ongoing remediation and cleanup of Diamond Alkali Superfund site, Occidental Chemical Corporation shall be using the PVSC site to perform dredging and disposal of sediment from the Newark Bay Waterway at the PVSC property next door to us. The applicant proposes to demolish all the buildings and structures and pavements on the site on 678 Doremus, pave the property and use it for trailer and parking storage for vehicles, for trailer vehicles, for 445 trailer spaces. The subject property, again, is in the I3 heavy industrial zone, where trailer and heavy vehicle parking and storage are conditionally permitted principal uses, and the applicant meets all the conditions of that use. As the property is landlocked, it does not have direct access to the public roadway. Access to the site is provided via an existing easement, of which we are the beneficiary. The easement is held and controlled by PVSC. We do not have the authority over any physical improvements within the easement area, nor do we have control over the direction or traffic entering or exiting the roadway. Our access to the property is entirely governed by the terms of the existing agreement. This is of particular importance in relation to certain requests for improvements to the access and management of traffic flow, which will be discussed further this evening. The relief requested is actually very minimal. From what I'm normally here asking for, we're pretty minimal. We've got 4 waivers for bulk relief regarding distribution of landscaping throughout the site, which is typical. 50% parking area. We're obviously not proposing to put any shade trees in the middle of an industrial lot. Drive aisles, kind of you guys routinely grant those, and some small illumination levels in the corners of the property. I'm in receipt of a number of letters from your professionals, a completeness review letter dated May 28th, 2025, a Newark Environmental Advisory letter dated August 5th, 2025, engineering review report dated August 13th, 2025, and finally, planning report dated a planner's review report dated August 8th, 2025. During the testimony, our professionals will confirm that the applicant is committed to working with the appropriate city departments and board professionals to address all applicable and relevant comments regarding site during resolution compliance. Specifically, however, the applicant cannot comply with the following provisions of the engineering report, as those provisions are not applicable to the industrial properties. Section 1 entitled General Notes, Provision 6, and Section 4 entitled Site Plan, Provisions 7, 8, and 9. As discussed, the applicant will not be able to comply with the following sections of the engineering report and thus is seeking relief. General Notes, Provisions 3, 4, and 5. Sections 4 entitled Site Plan Provisions 5 and 6, and Section 9 entitled Lighting. So those are the or variances that we need. Moreover, the applicant is unable to fully comply with certain comments in the engineering review letter, specifically items 2, 3, and 4 under site plan for lighting, but we talked about that already, and my engineer will touch that. I provided the notice to our board secretary, and we provided the appropriate notice to the adjacent properties. You'll notice that the property is landlocked. It's heavily industrialized. We've got a sewage treatment facility on one side. We've got a sewage sludge treatment facility on the other side of us. We've got industrial oil tanks that we're removing, and we're going to put some parking there, but we still have a great deal of industrial storage around us. There are no people that live anywhere near this place, not even the prison. The prison's, a quarter mile, half a mile up the street. So there are no people that live in this area. There's no way to get here that drives by people except the prison. This is a trucking area, very close to the port. The port is literally across the street from us. So it's a good place to park trucks, which is why we're proposing to park trucks there. We're decommissioning existing oil tank storage farm, which I think is good. I think this is an upgrade. We're putting trees where no trees exist. So despite the fact that it's industrial parking, we're going to show you that it's a much better use than what's there, which is not often and not easy to say. But this is a substantial upgrade to what's there already. With that, Mr. Chairman, my first witness this evening is Christian Roseland from Langen Engineering.
Get Christian sworn in. Mr. Beck.
Yep. Good evening. Do you solemnly swear the testimony about to give this board shall be truthful?
I do.
Thank you. Please state your name and affiliation to this record.
Sure. My name is Kristen Roslund, Roslund, and I'm with Langen Engineering and Environmental Services in Parsippany, New Jersey, and I am the civil engineer for this particular project.
Ms. Roslund, would you please, for the board's edification, share your experience, training, and also indicate whether your license is current and in good standing?
Certainly. So I received a bachelor's of engineering degree from the College of New Jersey, and I'm a licensed professional engineer that is in currently good standing. And I've been working on industrial projects such as this for a little over 10 years with Langen Engineering.
Ms. Roslund, I know you worked on some projects with me in Newark before. Have you ever presented to this board before?
I have.
Mr. Chairman, I'd offer Ms. Roslund as an expert in engineering.
And you're accepted by the board. Please continue.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Listen, I'm going to ask you to first share your screen and let's get the board orientated to where this project is and what's around it. So I'd like to just walk through the current condition, the current site condition.
Sure. So this is an aerial exhibit. We'll mark this as A1 for the purposes of an exhibit. And the site is approximately 16 acres and is known as Block 5066, Lot 30 and 30.01. Also known as 678 Doremus Avenue. I think, as our attorney mentioned, you are aware that the site is currently operating as a petroleum bulk storage facility, and it has several accessory buildings, several tanks, a fueling station, and a barge access from the pier. The remaining lot is generally paved, compacted with gravel, and has some ancillary ramps, pads, and footings. Just to orient you a little bit more as to where this is within Newark, we are adjacent to Newark Bay on the east. We have industrial facilities located to the north, south, and to the west, generally all around us, with specifically Passaic Valley located directly to the north and also to the west. As you already heard, the site is accessed via a shared driveway from Doremus Avenue through an easement across Conrail and the adjacent property owner. Generally kind of this long driveway connecting our property, which is shown in blue on Exhibit A1 to Doremus Avenue. There's no direct frontage on Doremus Avenue, and again, the property is landlocked. So just to give you a little bit more, the site is located in the heavy industrial zone, I3, and is nearly entirely impervious with no formal landscaping. And it is also an environmental site that is under the jurisdiction of the NJDP and the oversight of a licensed site remediation professional. Environmental remediation is well underway, and any redevelopment will be done in accordance with those requirements for the site and under the supervision of an LSRP. So with that, I think I am going to switch over to what we'll mark as Exhibit A2, which is a site plan rendering showing the proposed condition. And the proposed redevelopment is seeking to construct a new parking and storage facility that will be used for trailers, containers, and other heavy vehicles. The site will include the construction of 445 trailer parking spaces and will generally be secured by a sliding gate near the entrance and a 5-foot high chain link fence around the perimeter of the site. I will note that both the engineering and I believe the planning memorandum identified that the fence on the submitted plans was 6 feet high, and that would require relief, but we are going to lower that fence height to 5 feet to comply with the conditional use standards. So we will no longer need that relief, but it was identified in the 2 letters. So just to touch a little bit more on the operational aspect, this is a tentative, speculative proposal right now. It's based on the applicant's experience, our experience as well with sites of this nature. So in terms of details, in terms of hours of operations, number of employees, specific security measures, that is not known at this point, but what the application in front of you is based on kind of typical industrial operations. So we feel very comfortable with the proposal in right now. In addition to the parking spaces used for the trailers, we also have 5 parking spaces located near the entrance of the site. One of those will be EV charging spaces. One of them will be an ADA parking space, and these will be used by a variety of people, some site employees, such as personnel, jockey operators, any maintenance activities, and things of those nature. And we feel those 5 parking spaces are adequate based on the size of this development. These are also located outside of the secure area. Just wanted to note that as well. And then going back onto the access, this access road kind of on the top left of Exhibit A2 is the access road that currently goes out via an easement to Doremus Avenue. As we mentioned, this is shared with the neighboring property, and it really grants right for specifically ingress and egress only and maintenance of existing facilities. That driveway does vary in width, but it will accommodate both car and truck traffic. So we wanted to make that point and distinction so that the board knew that that driveway could accommodate a development such as this.
Can we show the plan rendering with the access drive?
Sure. We'll mark this as Exhibit A3. So you can see kind of our same rendered site plan here. And then this hatch going out to Doremus Avenue is the existing access easement.
And how wide is the proposed road within the access easement that's being put in?
You mean the existing access road?
Yes. How wide is the existing access easement?
It varies in width, but it's sufficient to accommodate truck traffic. So it's larger than that 24-foot width.
Okay. Talk to me about stormwater management.
Before we jump over there, I did want to just identify the one item of relief we're requesting regarding the trailer parking.
Okay.
We reviewed the planning or the engineering memorandum, and it was identified that the basically the maximum width of any drive aisle is 40 feet for an industrial use. We do have these truck court drive aisles between the trailer parking spaces that exceed that 40 feet that are really necessary for truck maneuvering and are typical with industrial standards. So we are requesting relief for that specifically tonight. Again, 40 feet is required as a maximum, and we're proposing 108.8 feet. Again, kind of in line with industrial standards and truck moving templates that were requested by the board engineer to provide a little bit more detail on, which we will do as part of the compliance. So with that, I will move on to stormwater and just kind of how we are addressing that. The project is almost entirely impervious in nature, which will be reduced to about 81%. This is a net reduction of impervious coverage by about 3 acres or about a fifth of the site. And this actually brings the site into compliance with the regulations for the maximum impervious area. We do see this as an overall benefit to Newark as it provides additional stormwater quality and additional green space on a site that is fully paved. We are proposing some stormwater quality measures that consist of green infrastructure, manufactured treatment devices that will kind of treat the areas of pavement before they are directly discharged into Newark Bay. As part of this project, there is no stormwater being discharged into any kind of city infrastructure, which I think is important to note. And then just kind of keeping with the stormwater aspect, we are in a 100-year floodplain that was identified in a couple of the letters. We are aware of this, and we are actually undergoing a DEP permit process right now. The permit is currently pending and under review, and we will provide Newark a copy of that permit once it is granted.
And we recognize that as a condition prior to it being issued a CO.
Correct. And then I just quickly want to touch on a couple other aspects of the proposed development. The first is just signage. We're proposing one monument sign near the entrance on our property that will identify directional wayfinding, the tenant. This is 25 square feet and complies fully with the city ordinance with respect to location and size. And then the proposed development will also have some site lighting associated with it. We have LED fixtures proposed at a mounting height of 30 feet. And these heights and the spacing comply with the Newark requirements. However, we are requesting one item of relief, and it's specifically for the illumination outside the radius of a light pole. The ordinance requires 1 to 5 foot candles for off-street parking lots, and we are proposing a range of 0.5 to 3.9. The areas that are beneath that 1 foot candle are typically on the outskirts of the development in the areas that are designated for some snow storage areas. So they're not actually within a parking space. But as part of the compliance process, if the board is so inclined to improve the application, we would look to improve that statistic a little bit, but are seeking that relief tonight at this point.
Krista, could you just show the board, maybe with your cursor, where the snow storage areas are located?
Generally located in the corners of the site to kind of be out of the operational component of the proposed use.
Thank you.
And then one other item regarding lighting that was brought up in the engineering memorandum was about the lighting on the access drive to the site. As you heard in Mr. Webster's opening briefing, I guess, we don't have the rights to essentially install lighting on there. So we are just making that as a note tonight. The existing lighting that is along that access road is proposed to remain as part of this application. And then lastly, I do just want to touch on the landscaping. This is where we have the majority of our relief items, and they all do kind of tie together. But I'll start by stating that the proposed site has 0 trees proposed or on site now, and we will be proposing 91 trees. These trees are generally located we'll say kind of along the entrance into the property, and we really focused them on the waterfront area and tried to make these larger areas of landscaping rather than planting trees within islands located within the trailer parking lot, as this is pretty intrusive to operations, and the trees generally do better in larger areas of landscaping where there's not just a tree pit. So the focus was to really enhance the waterfront area as well as that site entrance. And that's where we located those 91 trees throughout the site. So with that being said, we are requesting several variances, or I'll call them items of relief for this.
We're asking for waivers.
Waivers, correct. Yes, thank you. So we are requesting relief for the interior parking area landscaping. The ordinance requires that 15% of the parking area is landscaped. We are proposing 1.4%. We are also requesting relief for the parking shading area. This requires that 50% of the parking area be shaded within 15 years. We are at 0.02%. And then we are also requesting, in the same kind of nature, shading as it relates to 15-foot radius from the trunk of the tree. 35% is required and 0.2% is proposed. We are also requesting relief for the requirement that 1/10 of the parking area be landscaped. 10% is required, and we are proposing 1.4%. And the last requirement is a requirement for parking islands separating rows of parking spaces by 5 by 5 foot like tree walls. And as you can see on Exhibit A2, we do not have those landscape islands, again, with the intent to locate these on the perimeter and really enhance the perimeter and provide a significant upgrade from what currently exists. And then it's, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't have any further questions.
I think that really generally concludes my direct testimony and gives kind of a high-level summary of the project. We do believe there's a net benefit. Like I said, we're decreasing impervious coverage. We're adding a lot of landscaping, and we feel that this use is very situated for this property. But I am more than happy to take any questions that anyone may have at this point.
Commissioners, questions or comments?
Yes.
Go ahead, Commissioner Bernie. Then I'll get it for contact.
Those aisles, there's no space to put those aisles? Y'all don't have enough space to put them out? That's why you're not doing them?
Well, I think that the challenge is that they're hard to maintain, and this is a big truck parking lot. So what we've tried to do is push them to the outside and do heavily kind of landscaped on the perimeter. And then if you can see, we do have, Kristen, if you can expand a little bit, you'll see we do have some aisles that we have landscaping in the middle. So you can see that they're the green portions kind of, you can circle them. And we did put some trees in, but the bottom line is that for operation, for maintenance, for snow plowing, we don't want them in the middle of the property is the bottom line. So we've tried to accommodate it by putting it everywhere but the middle of the property.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Trapicante.
Yes, sir.
You're still on the oath, sir.
Oh, thank you. Ms. Rosalind, do you have a copy of the Department of Engineering's report to the Planning Board dated August 13th, 2025?
I do.
Yes?
I do, yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Please, yeah, on page 3, under item 3, demolition. There were several items. I don't know if they've been addressed yet, but we're gonna go through them just so I have something for the record.
Sure.
Page 3, item 3, Roman numeral 2. Applicant shall provide testimony to the board. Okay, revise the plan to note who owns the existing fence that runs along the west property line between the subject property and adjoining lot 16, block 5066, located to the west. Applicant shall provide testimony to the board as to what impact the proposed development will have on this fence and what will be its future disposition. Can you address that?
Yes, there was also a comment about the north and south property lines as well.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
I'm gonna do it kind of in one flush, if that's okay, Mr. Trafficante. But the northern and southern property line fences will be removed as part of the application as they solely serve the operations on site right now. The fence along the western property line is actually located off of the property and serves as a fence that serves the adjacent development. So that will remain as part of the redevelopment.
So the fence to the west is on the adjoining property and belongs to them?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. And the fences that run along the south and north property lines, are they to be removed and relocated?
Removed.
Removed. Okay. Aren't you proposing a retaining wall along that south side of the property?
We are.
Don't you need a fence on top of a retaining wall, especially if it's more than 3 feet high?
Correct. So we have a perimeter fence that will be 5 foot around the proposed trailer parking area. That's proposed.
All right, which is in conjunction with the retaining wall, right?
Correct.
And how about along the north property line? Is there a new fence going in there too?
Correct, for security measures.
Right, all right. Okay, so the fences will be removed and replaced along the south and north property lines.
Correct.
Fair to say?
Aren't we also putting in a fence on the south side as well, but just not removing that existing fence? Or no?
I'd maybe just do a visual here, but we're proposing to remove the fences along the north and south property lines, maintain the one that's offsite on the west, and propose like a new perimeter fence that will be 5 foot high around the perimeter of the property for security purposes.
Thank you.
That helps give a visual, Mr. Trafficante. That's the new proposed 5 foot chain link high fence.
Next question. Page 3, item 3, Roman numeral 3. Applicant shall provide testimony to the board as to the existence of the monitoring wells within the subject lots. What are they there for? Will access be provided to every one of them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for inspection purposes? And what is their future disposition? Can you address that?
I certainly can. So as I mentioned, the site is under LSRP supervision right now. The monitoring wells will generally be either decommissioned or relocated as part of this redevelopment under that NJDEP site remediation program. So we can work to address that during compliance, but some of those will remain and the access will be available to them at all times.
24/7?
Correct.
There won't be a trailer parked on top of them?
Correct. We'll have to relocate them as necessary to make sure that is not the case.
Right, there could be, but we will be able to move the trailers.
All right, well, that makes it difficult for an inspector from the DEP to get at them though, right?
We will comply with whatever conditions the DEP places on.
Okay.
We've done tons of these, and every property in this area has monitoring wells, and we park a lot of trucks, and we seem to figure out how to make it work.
All right. Okay, and then item 3, on page 3, item 3, Roman numeral 5. Applicant provide testimony to the board as to what impact the proposed development, including the placement of fill within a 100-year flood zone, shall have on adjoining properties located to the west, north, and south. Are you gonna push stormwater or tidal floodwater into your neighbors to the north, south, and west? What's the deal? Because you're proposing like how high of a retaining wall along the south and west property lines, and what's that gonna do with tidal stormwater floods?
Good question. So there's a couple ways to look at that. The first one is that the tidal flood elevation is really tied to a specific elevation. So, we shouldn't really be having any impacts on any of the neighboring properties. But to help mitigate any runoff that is going onto the neighboring properties, we do have retaining walls. And on the south side of those, on the south side of the property, we do have a swale that is directing all of the stormwater directly to the bay. So there's no runoff onto adjacent properties. And we have that same situation on the north side where we have a swale collecting all the runoff and directing it directly to Newark Bay so that we don't have any runoff.
What about along the west side? You got a retaining wall there, right?
We do have a retaining wall on the west side. That side as well, we have basically a swale that is picking up that and directly discharging it. So it's fair to say that we don't really have any direct runoff into any adjacent property.
All right. And then, coming up
So
on last.
we're good neighbors, Mr. Trafficante.
All right. Yeah, you keep telling me that. All right. Jury's still out. Item 3, page 3, Roman numeral, okay, set 6. Survey shows existing overhead utility lines inside the north property line of subject site to an existing utility pole located in the northeast corner, as well as inside the south property line of the subject site. Applicant shall provide testimony to the board as to what overhead and or underground utility easements exist within the project site and for whose benefit do they serve. Should there be no existing overhead or underground utility easements within the subject site, the applicant property owner shall provide additional testimony to the board as to future disposition of these existing overhead utility lines and utility pole should the board approve this application. Can you answer that, Ms. Rosalind?
Sure. So the utility overhead and underground utility easements that exist on the site are really to service the current operations on site. All those will be extinguished and removed as part of the proposed redevelopment.
So there's no known utilities, either overhead or underground, within the subject site that serves adjoining properties.
Correct.
Right. And the existing overhead utility poles and lines are to be removed.
Correct.
All right. And you're not, so page 3, item 4, page 3, Roman numeral 4. Are there any proposed loading unloading areas?
No.
Okay, if none, then the applicant shall provide testimony to the board stating so and give it an explanation as to why not, since the applicant indicates the storage of containers vehicles on the application. Are you proposing any storage containers? Not just trailers, I'm talking containers.
No.
None whatsoever? All right. And there's no plans to load or unload these trailers that you're parking here. They're just gonna be locked and sat, whether they're full or empty. Is that correct?
Yes, there's no loading, there's no transporting from one trailer to the other. It's simply parking and storage.
All right. All right. Last question. I know you stated you wanted to keep away from buying landscaping down the center of the parking lot, but you have at least, Ms. Roslin, you do have, right, 3 double utility light poles, excuse me, at least 3 double-headed light poles running through the center of the parking lot. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. Is there any reason why you could not put a curbed landscaped island around the base of each of these light poles, thereby providing them protection with trees to help provide not only shade, but also act as a buffer and protect the light poles themselves? Is that something feasible?
As I mentioned before, the idea was to really push it towards the perimeter, really, so you have this larger landscape area and the chance of survival on a site such as this would be greater. So that is why we did not show them in the middle of the parking lot.
We've had this conversation on numerous applications. The reality is that the trees in the middle don't survive. The trucks back into them, we just don't make it, So, we're proposing to accomplish the goal of having more trees on the site by number one, having an exterior foliage kind of really robust, and then 2, if there is a need to address the tree issue further, we'd be happy to work with the board's engineer and the planner to come up with a reasonable contribution to the tree fund.
Well, is it the highest point of the property through the center of the parking lot? Isn't that the section that's above the 100-year flood zone, which I believe is elevation 12? Everything else is below?
The center line of the trailer parking there is generally at the highest point of the proposed.
Yeah, which would put those trees above the 100-year flood zone. Should this ever get hit by a tidal flood, I thought that, at least preserve the trees, all right? They'd be less likely to wash away during a major storm event. So the logic or the thinking is, wouldn't the trees tend to fare better or sort of have longer survivability if they're put in the high spots instead of the low?
Let's put it this way. I understand your logic, and I think, the idea was to really get these larger swaths and enhance this. We do have a couple of like light poles located through this, but I think we can work with the planning and engineering department, should this be approved, to kind of work to either make a contribution to tree fund, add a couple more plantings, or work to figure something out that would be more accommodating.
And as a condition of approval, would your client be willing to also meet not just with the Department of Engineering and the board planner, but also with the city arborist, to discuss the placement of trees?
We actually had met with the city arborist during our diligence phase, so we would be happy to do that again.
All right, all right.
But the condition can't be more trees in the middle. We work with more trees on the edges, but we can't do more in the middle.
Well, even around the light poles, huh?
We're told that they don't survive. We can't maintain them. Our client's a pretty big industrial REIT, and they own parking lots like this in other places, and they can't keep them. So we're being told, our client's asking us to work hard to put more trees on the edges, not in the middle.
All right. Oh, and one last question. Under lighting, I believe it's on page 6, item 9, Roman numeral 1. The mounting height of all proposed pole-mounted light fixtures must be taken from finished grade to the bottom of the lighting fixtures. Applicant shall clearly note the mounting height of all proposed pole-mounted light fixtures taken from finished grade to the bottom of the light fixtures on plan after taking into consideration the contribution to height by the 2-foot diameter concrete base in order for engineering division to determine compliance with section 41-16-6-2-5A3 of the city code. Ms. Roslin, do you know the mounted heights, I believe, are all noted at 30 feet? Is that after or before taking into consideration contribution to the height from the concrete pedestals, which I think, according to your detail, is up to 3 feet?
I believe the mounting height, after taking account the pedestals, is 30 feet. So that the overall height is 30.
So the pole would be 27.
Yeah, the pole itself would be a little shorter.
And some of these might have to be custom fit, 27 and a half, 27, depending on the height of the pole base.
Yes.
All right, for clarity. All right. No further questions. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, my next witness is Rachel Fifield, who's a planner, just to address the variances. I'm sorry, the waivers that were mentioned.
Okay, Mr. Beck, let's get us sworn in.
Yes. Good evening. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give shall be truthful?
I do.
Thank you. Please state your name and affiliation for the record.
My name is Rachel Fifield, Fifield. I'm a planner with Lang and Engineering. I'm a member of the AICP. I'm a PP in New Jersey. My license is current and in good standing, and I have made previous appearances at a variety of boards in New Jersey, including before this board.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to offer Ms. Fifield as an expert in the field of planning.
Yes, you're accepted by the board. Please continue.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Rachel, you've heard the testimony that has been put down by your colleague, Ms. Rosalind, and she's addressed the underlying rationale for why the applicant is requesting the various relief. I'm going to ask you to address it from a planning perspective and work with the board to explain why should the board choose they can grant the relief that we're requesting this evening.
Sure. So the relief that we're requesting, as our attorney has noted, is exclusively waivers, which means there's a lower burden of evidence just because this is a less intense request. So I'm going to try to keep it brief since I know that we've been thorough. So for design waiver requests, the MLUL permits the granting of design waivers where literal enforcement will be impracticable or will exact undue hardship because of the peculiar conditions of the site. In Garofalo versus Burlington, the court noted that a waiver is really no more than the board acknowledging the condition of the property is satisfactory. So because these waivers fall into a couple of categories, I've bundled them together to discuss today. So first, we'll talk about those landscaping waivers, both the 15% of interior parking area, and we're proposing 1.4, the 50% of parking area shaded within 15 years, where we're proposing 0.74, the 35% requirement, where we're proposing 0.02, the requirement for 1/10 of the paved area to be landscaped, and we're proposing 1.4, and the parking islands. So as my colleagues have discussed at length, tree planting poses a practical difficulty within the trailer parking area. It's really quite difficult to have islands the way you might in auto parking. As we've discussed, there's like difficulty with the long-term success of those trees. The risk of getting backed into by a truck is quite high. And the larger and more mature they get, which generally is what we're looking for landscaping plants, the higher their risk of being hit by a truck is, as they're larger. So there's here we've chosen to compensate with perimeter plantings around the site to provide screening and aesthetic effects without causing issues around visibility or maneuverability here. As my colleagues have mentioned, 91 trees are being added to this former tank farm site where currently there are no trees, there is no landscaping, it is heavily impervious. So this is a substantial improvement to the current situation. And shading and landscaping here is improved at the site while allowing for this new site use after the significant cleanup and LSRP management. So basically this represents an improvement to the site, and we're able to follow, like the spirit of the goals of landscaping here, even if we cannot follow it to the letter. So I'm also going to discuss the driveway and aisle width question. So we are proposing between 70 feet and 108.8 feet within the site. And this is aligned with industrial standards, and it allows for effective truck maneuvering and movement for parking and storage on the site. And then also for a discussion of the question of lighting. So the height and separation of the light poles here is kind of necessary to allow for safe and effective truck circulation. Lighting impacts, as my colleague Kristen Roslin has discussed, are largely falling into the snow storage areas rather than on areas that are formerly designed for trailer parking specifically. And then those higher light areas do not spill over onto surrounding lots or roadways. So there's really a minimization of impact. So for these reasons, I think that it would have a positive effect on planning to grant these waivers.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Ms. Fifield. Mr. Chairman, I have no further questions for this witness.
Commissioner James has his hand up.
I'm sorry. Commissioner James?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Yeah, I just had a quick question. So I know this specific lot is on the bay, but I'm still trying to, I guess, find out what prevents, flooding or any mitigating factors, if Superstorm Sandy or any other storm comes, being so close to the bay.
Well, we've
I'm
elevated.
going to refer that to my colleague Kristen Rosland as an engineer. That's kind of out of my practice.
Yeah, so it's not that complicated. We're elevating it. So there's a standard set by DEP, and we've just elevated it to that standard. So that standard actually raises the entire platform, Jermaine. So that's why we have the retaining walls around the property. So I know Kristen is on, but how high did we elevate it, Kristen?
So we're generally elevating the middle of the site to around elevation 12, with some of the low-lying parking areas being around 9, which is technically in accordance with DEP requirements, but it is filling the site from what's currently there, where the elevations are closer to around 6 to 7. So by elevating that, you're kind of already taking that step forward towards mitigating against a Superstorm Sandy and items of that nature. I'll also go ahead.
So that means that right at the bay, we're going to be 9 to 12 feet above the water. So it's a pretty substantial amount of water that's got to come up. And to be quite honest, all the projects that we've done on Doremus have been elevated by that much. So we're putting in 2 to 7 feet of fill depending on where on the property. So we're substantially elevating the property.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Commissioners, any other questions or comments? Mr. Webster, does that complete your presentation?
Yeah, I just wanted to say one thing. I mean, I think it's just important that the board consider where this location is. This is not in the heart of the Ironbound. There's no houses, 20 feet away, 30 feet away, 40 feet away. Trucks are not going through residential neighborhoods to get to the property. They're coming off the turnpike. They're getting on the turnpike. They're getting on 19. This is a property that's as far away from anything. It's adjacent to the port, which is why it makes sense to park. We have Passaic Valley next to us. We've got the Passaic Valley sewage sludge treatment facility coming online right next to us. We've got a tank farm to the other side. The side that actually faces people, which is the water side, we've substantially greened. We've got a couple of acres of green and trees there to make that look nice. The part that faces all the industrial stuff, we've greened up with trees on the side. So we think we've done a good job of addressing what needs to be done while also providing the benefit of a needed use to take trucks off of Doremus Avenue, to take trucks off of Frelinghuysen Avenue, to take trucks out of that area by putting them in a place that's really close to the port. It's a best fit. It's a smart planning idea. And that's what the zoning is asking for. And that's what we've provided.
Thanks, sir. Ms. Gruen?
Yes, just Mr. Chairman, I assume that the applicant will clean up the site plan as we note in our memo so that there's consistency. There's some inconsistency right now. So if you will just confirm that that will be cleaned up where we note in our memo.
Yes, every item that's listed in the planning memo will be complied with.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry I didn't say that earlier.
Okay. Commissioners, any other questions or comments? Hearing none. Are there any questions or comments from the public?
Yes, Chair, we have one.
Let's get a person sworn in.
Miss Augusta, if you could come off of mute and turn your camera.
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, good evening, Ms. Leon. Once again, do you solemnly swear the testimony I shall give shall be truthful?
Yes,
Thank
I
you.
do.
Please state your address, name and address for the record.
My name is Natalie Agostofilion and I live at 51 Davenport Avenue in Newark, New Jersey.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I had a couple questions that weren't discussed at all. I'm curious what the purpose of the 15-foot swing gate is that was described as having barge access from the pier, and yet the site's being elevated considerably and there's quite a lot of trees being planted along that area. So just curious for that, for the usage of that eastern property border.
Yeah. Sorry, again. I'll let you.
No, okay, thank you.
I'll take notes and I'll answer everything after you finish. I apologize.
Appreciate it. I also would love to hear and understand more about the proposed green infrastructure devices that were described as helping to filter contaminants from stormwater before it enters directly the Newark Bay. That wasn't really discussed, and I, for what it's worth, don't have much trust that if it's not properly maintained, that it will actually continue to serve its purpose. And given that it's, feeding directly into the water body, that we take great cares to make sure is safe and healthy and all of those things. I would love to hear more about that. And then just generally speaking, I think you already have discussed the matter of the DEP's permit status. I think you may have already addressed this as well, but in our the Environmental Commission's advisory memo, we recommended that the gravel mix between the curb and fence line be turned into possible landscaping, and I'm not sure if that's been addressed as well. Thank you.
I can
Thank
answer
you.
most of those questions if you like. So the first one is a simple answer about the swing gate. It's the fact that there is a pier right now, and this is a speculative development. So we don't want to prohibit the use of that pier if a tenant so wanted that in the future. So right now we do have a roadway that's designed to kind of access that pier that is, separated from the landscaping in that area and does account for the grade change as we would slope up. So it's really just to provide the option, which, if material was to come in via some bay component, it would help alleviate some traffic on the road itself. So it's really a proactive measure in case a tenant could use that use.
Would that require some degree of offloading or actually discharging items from boats?
It could.
Correct. So then maybe I'm going to jump to your third one because that's a little bit more of a straightforward answer. But the gravel strip that's located directly behind the trailer spaces is intended to do that really for maintenance purposes. If you were to put kind of any landscaping or hedgerow, it would typically get hit by a tractor trailer as they were backing up towards the curb line. And it's a little bit more difficult to maintain because you don't have a full length for a mow strip for maintenance purposes. So the gravel is really typical of industrial standards. And that's the reason we're proposing it right behind the curb line. And then the last question I believe you had was regarding the green infrastructure manufactured treatment devices. So they're technically called aquaponic biofiltration systems, and they're designed to have some kind of shrubbery, some kind of greenery within these areas, and they drain to kind of a low-lying area where there's biomedia that filters any kind of oils or pollutants out before it ultimately discharges into the storm sewer system that will go to Newark Bay. And there are prescribed maintenance facilities and protocols that would need to be followed and are part of our DEP approval process. They'll be part of the Newark approval process that goes with our stormwater maintenance report. And those were included actually as part of our submittal too. So we could, detail those a little bit further, but they are prescribed pretty clearly in terms of routine maintenance, what needs to be required to make sure that they're properly working.
Can you repeat the name of the system?
Sure. It's aquaponic biofiltration systems.
That's what I thought I heard. Doesn't aquaponic imply fish? There will be live fish in these treatments?
I wouldn't read too much into the name there. That is definitely not what's happening here, but I won't disagree with you on that.
Filter that adds and then there's a maintenance plan submitted with the stormwater compliance report. Is that what you're saying?
There's an O&M operation and maintenance program with the submittal that goes to the DEP when we get our permit, but also goes to Newark before we get our certificate of occupancy. So both the city and the state, although the city is kind of administrative, the state is actually a prerequisite, and the DEP signs off on the whole system. So the DEP preempts Newark. So the regulatory process is the DEP regulates it, and Newark essentially accepts the DEP sign off.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Madam Secretary.
Seeing no other persons at this time, Chair.
In that case, I need a motion.
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Purdy. Is there a second?
Second, Chair.
Moved by Commissioner Baez. Roll call, Madam Secretary.
Commissioner Timmons,
Yes.
Commissioner De Silva,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott Roundtree,
Yes.
Commissioner Baez,
Yes.
Commissioner Purdy,
Yes.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Co-Chair Witcher, Yes. Chair Richardson.
Yes, your application has been approved. Good luck.
Thank you, commissioners. Have a good summer evening.
You as well.
You as well.
Okay, let's move to number 7.
Chair, we going to number 8 first?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
CPB 25-50, 166 Bloomfield Avenue, and Mr. Sauer.
Evening, Commissioners. Calvin Sauer here tonight.
You sound like you in a tunnel, brother.
You got to turn your volume up.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
Better now?
No. Put the
How about now?
oysters down. There you go.
Okay, let's see. I see what was happening here. Too many things happening at one time, Mr. Chairman. I apologize. I'm here this evening to bring before you 166 Bloomfield Avenue, an application for a conditional use approval for what essentially is a cannabis shop on Bloomfield Avenue. We are not seeking any extraordinary relief here. Hopefully, we can have this done relatively quickly this evening. I do have with me Michaela McGuire as an engineer, Daniel Jost as an architect, and John McDonough as our planner this evening to go over testimony with everyone. If I can, Madam Secretary, get everyone to come in.
Everyone should be joining. Ms. McGuire is already on. And there's Mr. Jones.
Okay. This is an old retail location that for most of us who are Norkers will know the space, not necessarily as retail. This used to be the former office of Mr. Velez, who's historically one of our most well-recognized Hispanic attorneys here in the city of Newark. And the office was then later taken over by now Senate Majority Leader Senator Teresa Ruiz before she moved her office a few blocks up the road. This site now is being proposed to be a cannabis retail location by the New Jersey Cannabis Club. And I just would like to note that the operator, Margarita, who may speak later on today or during this hearing, has been a staunch community advocate and has been speaking to members of the community ever since this idea has come to thought. Has been a part of the community and will continue to be part of the community, and is everything that I think our late Senator Rice wanted to see when he advocated for Black and brown folks to be able to operate cannabis facilities in places like Newark. With that being said, Mr. Chair, I'd like to call Ms. McGuire to speak.
Sure.
Good evening, Ms. McGuire. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give this board shall be truthful?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Please state your name and affiliation to this application.
Michaela McGuire, last name spelled Maguire. I'm a project manager at Stonefield Engineering and Design, located at 92 Park Ave in Rutherford, New Jersey.
Kayla, you've testified before this board, is that correct?
Yes, I have.
Is your
And your
license current?
It is, yes, in good
You're
standing.
accepted by the board. Please continue.
Thank you.
Thank you. Michaela, can you go through this plan for us, please?
Yes. So I'm going to share an aerial exhibit that was prepared by our office. It's dated August 18th, 2025. Essentially, it's just a zoomed out aerial of the site to kind of talk about the site and surrounding areas. So the site's currently located at Block 534, Lot 8, also known as 166 Bloomfield Avenue. It's 2,151 square feet or 0.05 acres, and it's within the C2 zone, or the community commercial zone. To the north, adjacent to the property, is Avenue, which is a food or C-store. To the south is the Wells Fargo that's at the corner of Bloomfield and Clifton. To the southwest is the parking lot for the Wells Fargo, and then to the west are residential properties fronting along Ridge Street. All of these adjacent properties within this block are located within that same C2 zone. And then as you look across Bloomfield Avenue, there's another bank across the street, again, also located in that same C2 zone. So we do have one frontage with this property that is along Bloomfield Avenue. It's about 25 feet wide. The site is located close to the intersection, the signalized intersection of Bloomfield and Clifton Avenue. So there is no existing vehicular access or driveway currently on the property. There's also no street parking along the frontage, again, because we are fairly close to this intersection. Currently on site, there's about a 1,610 square foot commercial or retail building as mentioned. Building height is about 32 feet. Again, there's no vehicular access, but there's about a 15-foot sidewalk along the frontage within the county right-of-way. The applicant is proposing to renovate the existing building into a cannabis retail, or also known as the New Jersey Cannabis Club. This is a conditional use within this C2 zone that we will talk through with our planner. Since the applicant is proposing to renovate the existing building, the extent of the exterior modifications are fairly limited. So I'm going to pull up the architectural plans that were included in the latest submission, and I'm going to start on sheet A1. So the proposed building footprint is not proposing to change as part of this application, because again, it is just a renovation of the building. So the building footprint or gross floor area are not proposed to change. Neither is the building height, any of the building setbacks, or any of the building or impervious coverage on site, again, because it is just a building renovation. As mentioned, there's no existing vehicular access or parking on site. Again, that is to remain as part of this application. There is pedestrian access along Bloomfield. I do want to note that that proposed access location is not changing or being modified with this building renovation. So that access point, which is one door along the frontage, is going to remain as is. And then again, I'll let the architect talk about the interior. From a stormwater and utility perspective, all of those items will remain the same. We will reutilize all the existing connections that are tying into the infrastructure within Bloomfield. So now on to the two main exterior improvements that I'll talk through, which is lighting and signage. So I'm going to move down to A3, again, part of the architectural set that was submitted. So the applicant is proposing two wall packs along the front of the building mounted at 10 feet high. The average illumination along the frontage is about 4 foot candles, and the max illumination is 10.3 foot candles. There are two specific conditional use standards regarding lighting within the conditional use section that I do just want to touch on quick. So the first one is a minimum of 3 foot candles of illumination shall be maintained within 10 feet of the building entrances. The applicant does agree to show that 10-foot radius in front of this pedestrian entrance here, and to ensure that any illumination levels within that 10 feet does meet the minimum of 3 foot candles within the front, again, to make sure we're meeting that requirement and we're ensuring safety for the property. The second requirement is a minimum of 1 foot candle of illumination shall be maintained throughout the property. There is a small, atypically sized rear yard, I would say, in the back of the site. There was light shown on the security plan that was submitted, but the applicant does agree to design the light fixtures in the rear there to ensure we are proposing a minimum of 1 foot candle in that rear yard, again, to ensure safety. I do want to note, because I think it was a question in the planning review letter, there is no access to that rear yard from any of the adjacent properties. There is only access from inside the building into that rear yard. Finally, for the signage, the applicant's proposing one wall-mounted facade sign, again along the frontage facing Bloomfield. The sign's proposed at 10.5 feet tall, and the sign square footage is 18.7 square feet. The maximum square footage for a sign, again, listed in the conditional use requirements, is 20 square feet. So the sign proposed is compliant. There are 4 conditional use standards regarding signage, and the applicant is complying with all of these requirements. We did get a chance to review the planning review letter dated July 28th, 2025. We did review for any site design elements, so anything, again, around the exterior of the building. And we do agree to comply with any of the lighting or signage comments in that letter. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions or go into more detail on any of the site design.
Okay, commissioners. Questions or comments? Hearing none. Next witness.
Thank you. With that, I would like to move on to our architect, Mr. Joseph.
Good evening, Mr. Jost. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give this board shall be truthful?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Please state your name and affiliation to this application.
My name is Daniel Jost, Jost. I'm the architect for this project. I'm a licensed architect in the state of New Jersey, also Pennsylvania, Maryland, and other states. And my license is currently in good standing.
You're accepted by the board. Please continue.
Okay.
Thank you, Mrs. Jost. You want to share your screen? You prepared the drawings for this application, is that correct?
Correct.
And can you walk us through the retail location, starting from the outside? And I'd appreciate it if you included your knowledge of the camera system, where you would be seen from the outside all the way through to the point of sale and back out onto the roadway.
Okay. I think I'll start with, I'm going to just show a picture of the existing conditions here. Does everybody see this?
Yes.
Okay, my screen just went crazy on me, so I apologize. This is the building as it is today. The only improvements that we're going to make to the exterior of the building are removing the sign band at the top, and then removing the canopy that's over top of the main entrance. And then from there, I'm going to show you the new rendering of what it's going to look like. Okay, so now this is the rendering of the sign box removed, the canopy removed, the 2 lights, and the sign. So as far as the exterior modifications, that's all that we're going to be doing to the exterior of the building. As far as the interior of the building, I think Emily Cisneros from New Jersey Cannabis Club's cannabis consultant might be best to go through the security plan as they put that together. I can certainly show you, as you enter the building, you come into a shared vestibule, you're checked by security. This is the retail area here. And then you walk out and you're checked by security again, and you come out, and then you can leave the place. But I think as far as the security plan and all of the glass breaks and everything like that, I think Emily Cisneros is probably best to speak to that.
Okay, can you speak to the security within, as far as the safe, the walls being put up, access to and from?
Sure. So all these dark walls, can everybody see my cursor here? You know, all of these dark walls, these are the new walls that are being put up. The plan to the right is the existing walls, which everything's going to be pretty much demolished within this space. When product comes in, it's going to be put back into this vault, and the vault is going to be constructed of metal studs with security mesh on it so that you can't easily break into it. So everything is going to be in the vault, and then people from behind the counter here will come through packaging, get the product from the vault, package it up, and then distribute it here at the counters.
Okay, are there any other features of this design that you would like to address?
I think that pretty much covers it. It's a pretty simple. It's a 1,600 square foot fit out on the first floor. It's basically just a regular retail fit out. And like I said, the the signage and the lighting that was covered by Michaela. So I don't really have anything else to speak of on that.
Okay. Chairman?
Yes, sir. Commissioners, questions or comments? Commissioner Bias.
Yeah, Chair, thank you. Just quick question. They plan not to hanging up pictures in the window there with a big cigar and a battle handy with a crooked eyes in there, isn't it? I expect not to see pictures in there with anything like
No.
that. Because outside is a bus stop and it's a very busy intersection right there where there's a lot of kids taking the bus in there to go to school.
No, there'll be nothing in the, one of the laws is that you have to have all of the windows blacked out so that you can't see into the store and see any of the product. So the windows will be shaded so you can't see what's going on in there.
Excellent, because that's a bus stop. That's a very busy bus stop for the kids in there. And so, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Thank you.
Commissioners, any other questions or comments?
Just a comment, Chair, just so we have the record straight. Mr.
Madam
Sutter, I have Exhibit A1 as the aerial exhibit, Exhibit
Yes.
A2 as the Google Maps photo with the existing conditions, and then Exhibit A3 is the rendering.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All right. Next witness.
I believe Ms. Gruel has a question, Chair.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, Chairman. Are you the one that would testify as to the waste management plan and where the interior and exterior waste storage areas are, which is one of the conditions that is of the conditional use? I don't know whether you would be or your next expert would be.
I think that's going to be best suited. That's more of an operational thing.
That's fine. I'm just asking. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mr. Souter?
Yes, with that, I'd like to call John McDonough, our planner, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, Ms. McDonough. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give this board shall be truthful?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Please state your name and affiliation for the record.
My name is John McDonough. I am the project planner. My address 101 Gibraltar Drive over in Parsippany, New Jersey.
Your license is current, sir?
Yes, it is, Mr. Chairman.
Don't lose it. You're accepted by the board. Please continue.
Thank you. Calvin, should I take it away? You want to leave me off here?
Yes, please go for it.
Okay, so you've got good predicate testimony here through architecture and through Michaela with how this is an engineering and architectural retrofit of an existing building. We're here in your C2 zone district, which is a growth zone here in the community, one of your key corridor-based zoning districts. And compliments to the community, compliments to the board, to the city. We're coming up with what is as regulated as a land use as there is here in the city with 18 conditional use requirements. This applicant and your planner has laid out every one of those very well. As always, Ms. Gruel has given the board the things to think about in this application. I'm happy to report that of those 18 conditional use criteria, the applicant is not asking the board to move on a single one. We've got compliance with all the conditional use requirements from odor management, neighborhood compatibility, separation from adjacent uses, state license, the security plan, waste management, which again has been provided as part of the application documents. We can certainly elaborate, but there's not going to be any visual appearance of the waste storage area. They're out of the public eye. And as you've seen, I'll put this on the screen now, and I know, Carissa, we're going to have to mark this as an exhibit.
This would be 4, right,
This is
Carissa?
going to be a film for the record. And to show you what you've seen already, we've got a building that's a string of mixed-use retail buildings along the corridor along Bloomfield Avenue. This is one of the inline units. And again, it's going to be a retrofit of that which is already there. Looking at it from another view, looking more towards the downtown, you can see again, this is sort of a wrap around the corner. And then finally, looking the other way towards New York, you can see again how this is going to simply be a retrofit of what's already there. We're not enlarging the building. We're not changing the building. We're not expanding the building, but working within the confines of the land and the structures that are already there. Our case law is pretty strong when we have conditional use that fully conforms with all your conditional use criteria. It's treated the same as a permitted use. We're not asking for any relief in terms of there's also good case law on that regard where we have a fully conforming application. It's not really up to the discretion of the board or anyone else to decide whether it does or doesn't constitute good planning. The essence of good planning is rooted in your zoning ordinance, and when an application complies, it is therefore good planning and should be approved. With that, I would offer that the applicant has met all the tests under the law. I know you've heard this land use before. And again, compliments to the board for good zoning and for applicant for following that good zoning. With that, I would say the criteria for approval are met here, and therefore approval is warranted. That's all I have on direct.
Thank you,
John,
sir.
John, can you go into the waste management plan since Ms. Rule did have a question about it? Would you mind giving some
Sure.
information on our compliance with that?
Sure. So as I understand, product certainly does not get disposed of in terms of the refuse. It is actually hauled off site, consistent with what we've seen for other applications as well. The refuse area is not going to be within the public eye and is not accessible. So there's a security aspect associated with that as well.
Thank you, John.
Yep.
Chairman?
Commissioners, questions or comments on this application?
Chair.
Commissioner James.
Council, can you address, I guess, being in a high density areas, Bloomfield Avenue, like, what's the entry to the cannabis, property, like what's the protocols in terms of, just gaining access and,
Yeah, there really
since it
is.
is a very high traffic area.
Yeah, there really is no change to the front door. Just to imagine the door really staying the same for all intents and purposes. But there will be security standing outside. And as is required by every cannabis facility, a license or identification will need to be checked twice, once to enter the facility and once at a point of sale to ensure that it's not being sold to anyone else. And the security measures will, from the time people walk onto the property until they walk off of the property, will be surveilled via video surveillance.
So the checking of ID is being conducted on the sidewalk or inside the premises?
Inside.
Okay,
It has to
gotcha.
happen
Okay.
on the
Okay,
inside.
gotcha. Okay. So if there's a line that, comes about, pretty much it'll flow off the sidewalk inside the premises where the ID and all the actual, protocols takes place.
Yes, but the lines, if you will, and the concern about the lines have diminished greatly over the last several years, with more and more of these facilities becoming available to the public.
Got you. Okay. Is there another in that area to your knowledge, or because I'm assuming that would be contingent
There,
upon, like how many there are in that specific area?
I believe there's 2 that I'm aware of in the area.
Okay.
One further up Bloomfield Avenue, which is the one that everyone thinks about when they think of the lines. It was the first recreational facility opened in the state. So when it first opened, there was, traffic was backed up forever. But then on Broadway and Chester Avenue, the old Chester's Lounge is now a marijuana facility. It's walking distance from this facility. and there really is very little traffic, if any at all, that is ever there as a result of it being a marijuana. I mean, Chester's have better traffic.
Gotcha. Okay. And last question, in terms of the I know there's some type of ventilation system and so forth. In terms of like cannabis odors, things of that nature, what's the mitigating,
Yeah, so we'll be complying with the state's requirements in reference to that. So this isn't a lounge where people would be smoking inside or things like that. So the marijuana in its dense capacity will be in a safe, will be in an odor secure environment, and then only brought out when it's being brought out to be sold.
Right, gotcha. Okay, so the only use is the purchase, and you can't smoke. Obviously, it's not a lounge. It's no lounge.
This is not a
Okay,
lounge.
gotcha. Thank you.
Sorry, Chair.
Bias.
So just to clear it out for you, there is 3 in Broadway. One in Manchester, another one in Broadway, and there's another one in Broadway and Bluefield in the corner.
You
Thank
sound
you,
like a consumer,
Mr.
Commissioner. He said they were trash.
I'm from the North. I know everything that's moving.
I hear you. I hear you, Commissioner.
All I
Just
know is
messing with you.
if somebody walks from that Bloomfield Avenue spot to Chester spot, that's a long walk.
That's what I was thinking. I was like,
There's another one in the middle in there. There's another one in the middle.
All right, let's get back on track. Commissioners, any other questions or comments? Hearing none. Madam Secretary.
No, I didn't. You didn't give me a chance.
You got a question?
I have a comment. You said comments or questions. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Okay. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Okay, so this is what I want to say. My whole thing is when these applications are brought before us regarding the cannabis industry or whatever it is, whether it's retail, is the give back for the community and what's going on in that area. Commissioner James asked some very good questions, and I've heard all that's been presented to us. So I'm just looking forward to those who now are able to do this on a legal basis, giving back some type of way to those in the community of this, where this retail or this business will be established or doing business. So, Mr. Souter, I do believe that there will be some conversation pertaining to that at some point, but that is going to always be my concern with this particular type of business. What happens after this and they are open or in the process of them opening?
And so I would like to, Councilwoman Roundtree, just note that the applicant here, the main applicant, Mrs. Duran, is one of the individuals who the late Senator Rice was talking about as he pushed for this ordinance to be something that gave back to the community and made sure that folks who have previously been harmed by the old war against crime or war against drugs had an opportunity to actually benefit from these things. So that is what is happening here in this application. This is a young Hispanic woman who has come back into the community and given significantly. But we don't have any issue with finding ways to give back further to the community and working with the council office and the administration to do just that consistently. You're muted, Councilwoman.
Thank you so much, Mr. Souter, and thank you, Chair Richardson, for allowing me a moment to voice my statement.
Yeah, I have a question for Mr. Sheldon. Mr. Sheldon, is the same owner that owns the one in Chester, is that the same owner who opened this facility?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioners, any other questions or comments? Madam Secretary, anybody from the public wishing to speak?
Seeing none at this time, Chair.
In that case, I need a motion.
Moving it.
Moved by Commissioner Bias.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Roundtree. Roll call, Madam Secretary.
Commissioner Purdy,
Yes.
Commissioner Baez,
Yes.
Commissioner De Silva,
Yes.
Commissioner Timmons,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott Roundtree,
Yes.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Co-Chair Richard,
Yes.
Chair Richardson.
Yes, your application's been approved. Good luck.
Thank you all. Have a good night.
So,
Okay, now
You as
let's move to number 7. It's CPB 25-43, 432-446 South Orange Avenue. And Mr. Klein.
What's going on?
Hi, good evening, Chairman, members of the board. Corey Klein from the law firm of Sills, Cummins and Gross on behalf of St. James Health, Inc.
Floor is yours, sir.
I'd like to have elevated our professionals, Mr. Steve Cohen, our architect.
okay. Was there anyone else, Mr. Cohen?
And Mr. Jonathan Zuluaga, our civil engineer.
Right.
And we could bring back Mr. McDonough. Looks like he's on.
Okay.
Okay, thank you and good evening. My name is Corey Klein from the law firm of Sills, Cummins and Gross on behalf of the applicant St. James Health. Thank you for your time during this late hour. I'll try to make my my presentation brief so I can leave time for any questions that members of the board or your consultants or the public may have. We have submitted an application for preliminary and final site plan approval for bulk variances pursuant to the MLUL and for deviations from the West Ward Model Neighborhood Initiative redevelopment plan, as well as design waivers to construct a 3-story, approximately 38,400 square foot medical office building and associated improvements, including a parking lot on property identified as lots 1, 4, and 8 in block 318 on the tax maps of the city of Newark, known as 432-434, 436-440, and 442-446 South Orange Avenue. The applicant, St. James Health, who some members of the board may be familiar with, would occupy the first 2 floors of the proposed building as a federally qualified healthcare center and to lease the 3rd floor to medical specialists affiliated with RWJ Barnabas Health that cater to low-income Medicaid and uninsured patients, as well as privately insured patients. The property is located in the Community Commercial District, the C2 district of the West Ward Model Neighborhood Initiative Redevelopment Plan, which permits the proposed use. I will leave it to my witnesses tonight to go through the relief that is being requested this evening. We have served notice by certified mail and published notice of the hearing, and we have submitted proofs of such publication and service to the board and would ask the board to acknowledge receipt and that jurisdiction is properly before the board.
Okay, let's get to your first witness. Let's get him sworn in.
Great. Okay. So my first witness will be Mr. Steve Cohen, our architect.
Where's Mr. Cohen?
Here at the top.
There you go. You blend in. Good evening,
Hi.
Mr. Cohen. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give this board shall be truthful?
I do.
Thank you. Please state your name and affiliation to this application.
My name is Stephen Cohen, Cohen. I'm the architect of record for the project. I have I'm currently a licensed architect in the state of New Jersey and many other states. I've been licensed, I hate to say it, since the late 1970s. And I am my license in good standing.
And you're accepted by the board. Please continue.
Thank you. So,
Thank you.
okay, please, Mr. Klein.
Oh, please, no, go ahead. I'm just going to, if you like, I can share my screen.
Yes.
And just looks like there's some privacy settings that may be preventing me from sharing my screen. I don't know if that's on my end or on the board's end, if I'm able to share.
Mr. Khan, you should be able to, the green button in the middle of the screen that says share, you should be able to.
Okay. There we go.
Okay, this picture is an architectural rendition of the proposed front elevation of the building. In Ms. Gruel's comments, she asked for colors and materials, and we had just gotten the memo on Friday, and I didn't have the chance to make the modifications. This front elevation, which is the South Orange Avenue elevation, only has one pair of entry doors, and that's the one in the center of the building. The other three, the two on the left and one on the right, will just be windows. The building itself will be 3 stories. It'll be masonry on the first floor with grills along the top of the window, architectural grills with the panels above it, which are going to be a hardy plank, which is a cementatious panel. Above that will be a concrete band, and then brick, aluminum and glass windows, and then above that, horizontal hardy plank siding, and then a combination of a flat and pitched roof, or basically gabled end roof, with some overhangs, and that's it. And that will be consistent on the 3 elevations, the 14th Street, South Orange Avenue, and the 15th Street. The rear of the building will have masonry at the first floor, and then again, a similar band, and then horizontal siding above it. No brick above the horizontal band. And so the building will be, in a sense, pretty much consistent on all 4 elevations. There was a question earlier in the memo about the height of the building. We reduced the height of the building to 38 foot 5 inches, which is 1 inch under the maximum that's allowable. We modified, we received the comments on
Just to
Friday.
clarify, Steve, it's 1 inch, it's over the maximum that's allowable, but it's
Yes.
1 under what the board would be permitted to grant pursuant to its jurisdiction as a planning board.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, thank you for clarifying that. So the further to that, go ahead. Somebody say something? Okay, all right, so the building itself will be 3 floors. The first floor will be an in-house pharmacy and offices and program rooms, and I prepared floor plans of the upper floors, which was one of Ms. Gruel's comments, and those are in the revised packet that was delivered on Friday. And so this is the first floor you're showing now. It's got a main entrance in the front. It's got stairwells on the sides with exit doors out. The parking is in the rear in that recess that's there. Then there's a single elevator and a front vestibule. Maybe we can go to the next sheet. The next sheet is just this. This is basically the second and the third floors. These will be, again, this plan represents basically open floor plans. If you keep going, I'll explain further. The elevations, the comments that we received on Friday asked for more detail on the elevations, which we provided in these revised elevations. And also, there was an error in my calculations as to the transparency regulations, and I recalculated the transparency, although not meeting the standard, did come up quite a bit, and that's noted just above the where it says, like, for instance, in this one, north elevation, there's a small lettering above it. That's the revised transparency calculations. Okay, you can go to the next sheet. These are just the other two elevations, the bottom one being the rear of the building. There is an entrance in the rear, which basically just accesses the parking and deliveries.
And for that rear entrance, does the public have access to that?
No, that'll just be employees, staff and employees and deliveries.
And the patients would only be able to use the front entrance?
Exactly.
Great.
Okay, you go to the next sheet. Now this is just a very, very schematic layout of the first floor. The in-house pharmacy, in this case, we're assuming it would occupy the front left. And when we say in-house, it's not going to be a pharmacy like a CVS. It's going to be, again, if you see a physician in the building and they prescribe something for you, you can purchase it on this lower level. And the balance of that floor, again, is offices, meeting rooms, reception area. There'll be security at the entrance to the building. By the way, the entire building is ADA compliant. If you can go to the next sheet, please. Then this is representative of what the upper two floors would be. Just generally broken up into offices, treatment rooms, and generally medically related facilities. And that is a very quick overview of the revised drawings we submitted. I went through the memo prepared by Ms. Gruhl, and I agree with her comments. I've made changes to clarify my comments. The only one that I didn't get to, quite frankly, on Friday was the signage, and the signage, based on the Newark signage regulations, we will comply. We only have one tenant, and right now it's anticipated, again, it will be St. James Health, and that identification will be on the front of the building adjacent to the front door.
And just to back up very quickly, we should have the color elevation that I shared on my screen marked as Exhibit A1, and the revised floor plans that I just walked through with Mr. Cohen marked as Exhibit A2.
Okay. Going through Ms. Gruhl's comments, one of the comments, again, there are a number of them regarding identification of materials on the elevations. They've been corrected. The signage I didn't get to yet, but that'll be on the compliance drawings. I believe I've made most of the other changes in there, but I don't take exception to any of the comments she had, and I'm in agreement with those, and we will comply. And that's trying to move quickly through it. That's my
Very
testimony.
good. Thank you, Mr. Cohen. Are there any questions for this witness before I call our civil engineer?
Commissioners,
I have a question.
co-chair with you.
Thank you, Chair. On this site, is that where the mural is in the back of that site along the concrete wall? Is there a mural there now?
I believe so, yeah.
I'm just wondering, it's beautiful. If there could be maybe a photograph, some representation of that artwork within the building.
Oh, maybe, Steve, do you know, and maybe this is a question for our civil engineer, is that wall on our property, or is that the property behind ours?
I think Jonathan, our civil engineer, can better speak to that than I can.
Thank you.
Next witness.
Okay.
Go ahead, please. But we can document the mural on the wall. We can photograph it and have that.
And put it in the lobby, just to leave a representation of what was there.
No problem.
Much appreciated.
Next witness.
Okay, is Mr. Zuluaga, Jonathan, are you on?
Yep, I'm here for you.
Okay, great. Okay, so we could have him sworn and qualified.
Yes, thank you, counsel. Good evening, Mr. Zulaga. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give this board shall be truthful?
I do.
Thank you. Please state your name and affiliation to this application.
Yeah, absolutely. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jonathan Sulaga. I'm with Dynamic Engineering, and I am the project site civil engineer.
Great, thank you, Mr. Zulaga. Can for the board, please provide your background and experience as a civil engineer in New Jersey.
Absolutely. I have a bachelor's in science and civil engineer from NJT. I've been working as a civil engineer for over 7 years and designed multiple commercial, industrial, and residential developments. And I am a licensed professional engineer in the state of New Jersey, and the license is current as of this evening. I have also provided expert testimony in front of this board in the past.
Okay.
You're accepted by the board. Please continue.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Zulaga, if you could please describe your responsibilities in connection with this project.
Yeah, absolutely. I was in charge of the site design, overall stormwater management design, and all the proposed site features.
And are you familiar with the West Ward Model Neighborhood Initiative Redevelopment Plan and the zoning ordinance of the city of Newark?
That is correct.
And can you please orient the board and the public to the property by the surrounding streets and other relevant characteristics?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me just share my screen to provide a visual representation. Okay. Please let me know when you can see it.
Yep.
All right, so if we want to mark this aerial map exhibit as A3, I believe, is where we are right now.
Good.
Correct me
Yes.
if I'm wrong. So as described before, the property is located in Block 318, lots 1, 4, and 8. As shown in the exhibit, the property is surrounded by that yellow thick line, which is representative of where the site is located. The subject side is, as you can see, is undeveloped vacant lots. There's some pavement remains on the northwest and east portion of the property. In terms of site access, you have the site is front and South Orange Avenue, as also known as County Road 510, as well as South 14th Street and 15th Street. For topography, the site generally slopes north towards South Orange Avenue, and there are no stormwater management systems present on site. In terms of adjacent uses, you have West Side High School to the north and the cemetery as well on that northeastern portion. On the south portion of the site, you're bounded by the single-family residential dwellings. On the east side, you have that soccer field, as you can see, which is associated with the charter school. And on the west side, the aerial shows a vacant lot, but actually that lot is under construction, what appears to be a multi-story building. The property is located as Mr. Klein just mentioned, the West Ward Model Neighborhood Initiative Redevelopment Plan in Community Commercial District C2.
Thank you. And if you could describe the existing site conditions and what is proposed.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me introduce the site plan rendering of what the applicant is proposing. We can mark this as A5. This was also submitted to the board. A4. This is pretty much a colorized version of the site plan that was submitted. As described before, the applicant is proposing a 3-story medical office building, which is permitted use within the redevelopment zone. Access to the property will be through South 14th Street on that south asphalt driveway with one-way circulation. The applicant is also proposing 45-degree angle parking. It's important to note, as the project architect mentioned it before, that the three-story medical building will have a pharmacy associated with it. In terms of additional site improvements, there will be right-of-way improvements to the sidewalk, as well as some proposed tree pits, curb ramps. And then there's also a loading area, which was a recommendation in one of the pre-app meetings that we have with the city, which will be used for medical clinic passengers, pick up and drop off, as well as deliveries. Before we get into additional details for proposed site features, I would like to put your attention in the bulk standards within the community commercial district C2. Some variances that were noted by the professional planner. Not gonna mention again the building height, which the project architect provided testimony on that, but would like to clarify a few of the variances that the applicant is looking for relief. Some of them being the front yard setback. As you can see, the building is located right on the property line, where the minimum required is 5 feet, and we're proposing 0, just based on the geometry of the lot and the surrounding properties. Moving on to
And Jonathan, if you could touch on the I think the planner's report also asked about the setbacks on the South 14th Street and South 15th Street frontages, as well as the calling it the side yard setback, which I guess we referred to as the rear in our plans, but the planner pointed out that it's technically a side yard because the lot has 3 frontages. But just walk us through the setbacks for each of those frontages.
Yeah, and I could probably provide a little bit elaborate more on the exact numbers so that it's on record. So for South 14th Street, which is on the east side of the property, as I said, the minimum is 5, where 0 is proposed, and the maximum is 10 feet, where 19.2 is proposed on this portion of the property. For South 15th Street, the 5 feet minimum requirement, and again, it's 10 max. 1.1 is proposed, which is near this corner, and the max is 20.4, which we're seeking relief for that. And South Orange Avenue, as I said, is right on the property line, so that will be 0 proposed, where 5 feet minimum is required. In terms of the side yard setback, as you were describing, it's a 5 foot, where we're proposing 25.3, which is ample distance for the location of the building, and it provides some distance between the proposed development and the adjacent structures. Moving on to the max impervious lot coverage in the front yard, where 55% is required per frontage. Would like to clarify that we're complying with this requirement on South 14th Street, which is 40%. On South 15th Street will be 22.8%, which is below the number as well. And the only relief we'll be seeking will be for South Orange Avenue, which is 92.4%, and that's just because most of the building is occupying that space.
Great.
In terms of building transparency, that was testimony was provided by the project architect, but as you saw it on the rendering, there was plenty of windows and screening in that area. For orientation of primary entrance, the planner noted a variance. I would like to clarify that the entrance, the primary entrance is through South Orange Avenue and not through the rear, as the project architect has specified before. This will be used for employees only. So the staff will be using the entrance in the front. So no variance for South Orange Avenue facade.
Okay, turning to parking and loading. Are there any, I noticed that we provided parking, but is parking required under the redevelopment plan?
No. So that's very important to know, Corey. So in terms of parking calculations, as explained before, the development is in the redevelopment plan C2 district, where on-site parking is not required regarding of the use or building type. Nonetheless, the applicant is proposing 5 parking spaces, since there's some room in the property to accommodate that. In terms of loading, as discussed before, we had a pre-app with the city professionals, and given the size of the lot and that we weren't able to accommodate a loading zone within the site, the applicant is proposing the loading area within South 15th Street, as you can see it in here, with appropriate ramp. This loading area is 13 by 40. Important also to know that just given the size of the building, the loading area is not required, but nonetheless, we're providing that area for deliveries that they might get, and as well as cleaning passenger pickup and drop off. Already touch base on access, circulation. Again, it's one-way circulation throughout the site. All dimensions and on the parking aisles and the parking spaces have been designed according to code, and we're complying with same. For refuse and trash, so we have the applicant is proposing a trash enclosure on this corner here of the building, which is the southwest near the parking area. Trash collection is to be taking place in the parking area twice a week, and that will be outside of business hours by a private hauler. I believe there was a question from the engineer regarding trash collection and if it will be an inconvenience for the parking and the people utilizing those parkings, that they might get blocked by a garbage truck. So since the trash collection will take place outside of business hours, there won't be any issues with that. For in terms of topography, the site will be draining to trench drains will be placed at the entrance and exits of the driveway as complying with the city code, and will be discharged into a pervious pavement system, which is within the parking area to attenuate the rates and comply with the city requirements. Moving on to lighting. Applicant is proposing a few lighting building mounted lighting fixtures to properly illuminate the site as well as the pedestrian walkways. And on that, I have the planner's review memo, which noted a few deviations on design waivers for exceeding some of these illumination levels, again at the property lines and on the right of way. And since the building is right on the on the property boundaries and is very close in order to illuminate the pedestrian walkways and circulation aisles. We'll seeking the relief for that to supplement the existing lighting pole, which is not sufficient to eliminate this for adequate security and proper illumination levels. Signage, I believe we touched base on that. Project architect provided a testimony on that. We'll be complying with the requirements per code. Make sure I'm not missing anything here from the planners.
Yeah, let's circle back to parking and loading. So I believe that there were some relief was being sought or for providing minimum of 15% landscaping in the parking areas. As we weren't required to provide parking, I think maybe you can testify to the fact that, while we were able to put in a few parking spaces, we're not able to meet the requirement for the minimum landscaping, number of shade trees, and buffering from the residential area. Maybe you could touch on those variances.
Yeah, absolutely. As you can see, all the pervious areas on site have been properly landscape, and the applicant is proposing a lot of landscaping enhancements, shrubbery and trees. But just given the size of the lot and the number of parking spaces, we're seeking a variance for the parking lot landscaping, just given the geometry of the lot and the area that's available for planting. Again, we utilize as much green space as possible to propose these enhancements as much as we could, or as much as feasible. In terms of the buffering, Corey, that you were mentioning, we are proposing buffering for the adjacent lot 49. So you can see there's a couple of evergreen trees, which provide some buffering on the adjacent property on the south. Unfortunately, we don't have enough room due to the retaining wall to accommodate the difference in elevations between lot 10 and the proposed development. So we'll be seeking relief for that.
And are we able to comply with the refuse screening referenced in the I think it was a chain link fence? Were we able to modify that?
Yeah, that's where I was going next. So that refuse screening where 8-foot fence and not chain link is required. At the moment, the plans are showing a 6-foot tall fence, chain link that will be modified to comply with the city requirements.
What about plantings screening the refuse areas? Are we able to comply with that as well?
Yeah, the fence will act as the screening, so we'll comply with that. Yeah, we'll address that.
Okay, and the only other thing I had was we do, in fact, I think there was a question from the planner as to whether we meet the requirement for providing 25 square feet of pervious area per on-site tree. And you ran that calculation for the 8 trees we're providing on site. Do we provide adequate pervious area?
Yeah, the planner's calculations are correct, and we're complying with the minimum requirements.
Okay. And so I think you checked off, going through the planning comments, we acknowledged the first 2 comments. The third comment under planning comments, we provided testimony that the building height has been revised. Mr. Zulaga provided testimony regarding the front yard impervious relief that we're required to request from the board. A parking lot screening pervious area per on-site tree complies. Refuse screening, we will comply. We're requesting relief from the buffer area, and we will comply with signage. And Mr. Cohen provided testimony regarding the requested relief for building transparency. There was testimony that A fob system is being used for all except the South Orange Avenue entrance, which is the main entrance, is open during work hours, and there's a security checkpoint associated with that entrance. I think the architect covered comments 5 and 6. Comment 7, the parking area will be, what is the parking area? Who is the parking area used for, Jonathan?
So the parking area will be for patients only.
Okay, great. And when will loading take place? I think you may have touched on this already, but
Yeah, yeah.
traffic collection.
Yeah, I briefly touched base, but pretty much for loading and deliveries, they'll be able to utilize this loading area. If it's small trucks, but in talking with the applicant, they might also be expecting large vans, which they can utilize the parking area as well. And for trash pickup, as mentioned earlier, it will be performed during non-business hours at the driveway.
Great. And can you confirm that there's a separate refuse area for medical waste?
Yeah, that will be stored inside the building and collected by a private holder.
Wonderful. And there was a question about a backup generator. Can you confirm that that's going to be located on the roof and screened?
That's correct. Confirmed. You will be located in the roof.
And we'll clarify the height of the retention wall as well.
For the retaining wall?
Yeah, I'm sorry, the retaining wall.
Yeah. So the retaining wall on the south portion of the building. If you give me 1 second, I can
No, we can just clarify it when we provide revised plans, unless the board wants that figure provided at this time. And just to confirm, this is going to be an OBGYN, pediatric, adult, and behavioral health facility. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And the dedicated hours are 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday to Friday, plus Saturday hours and closed on Sunday. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And is there an estimated number of customers or patients, the 300 to 340 patients per day, based on the size of the facility and what's anticipated?
Yes, sir.
And you confirm that 95% of the patients will have scheduled visits as opposed to it being an urgent care type of facility?
Correct.
Great. Okay. And in terms of the suggested conditions of approval, we agreed to comply with those. We will work with the city in terms of the comments from water and sewer, and the tree fund contribution will be made as necessary. And in terms of the Mr. Traficante's report, I think there are a couple things we needed to confirm. Can we confirm that there's no easement for the existing building / wall encroachment, and that's going to be demolished? And also a question, is that wall, is that where the mural is? Is that on the encroaching wall?
Yeah. So there's a portion of building wall remains, which is inside the property that will need to be removed to be able to accommodate the driveway, as well as the screening, the buffering from the adjacent property.
And as the architect confirmed, we'll make sure to document that, photograph it, hang it in the lobby, however we can accommodate the city's or the board members' request in that regard. And I understand that county planning board approval has already been sought, and it's pending. It's conditionally approved, subject to approval from the city.
That is correct.
And the separate pharmacy, you said, is going to be eliminated. So all comments with regard to the separate entrance for the pharmacy, separate signage to the pharmacy are no longer applicable.
Correct.
Okay. And there's no existing underground and or overhead utility easements that you are aware of?
No.
And the existing block wall and chain link fence is going to be demolished and replaced?
Correct.
Okay, and question for Mr. Trafficant, the number of employees will be 50 to 60 employees.
Correct.
Okay, and other than that, I have in my notes that we're able to comply, so I have no with the comments from Mr. Trafficant unless otherwise testified to. So with that, I have no further questions for this witness.
Thank you. Commissioners, questions or comments? Mr. Trafficante.
I got a comment, Chair.
Oh, okay. Mr. Commissioner Baez, go ahead.
Yeah, Chair.
Just got here. Who is it?
I'd just like to say that I
Hey,
want to
boo.
thank you. This is the first time that I'm in the board that I see building that has been coming out for health care. I think that's beautiful, and that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner James.
Yeah, two quick questions. One, council. So this is a joint venture with the city, or what's the collaboration with the city on this?
I can answer that. The city owns the property, and the applicant has entered into a redevelopment agreement with the city, and has a contract to purchase the property from the city. That redevelopment agreement was executed some years ago. So at this point, we have not closed on the purchase of the property, but it is solely a venture from a not-for-profit organization, St. James Health, Inc.
Got it. No, definitely a great use specifically for that area. Second question, is there any, I guess, outside of the medical purpose, any other community benefits or any collaboration considering the amount of schools in that specific area?
I think I know that our client from Nicole Fields from St. James Health should be on the call and available, and we do have an excellent relationship with the school across the street, and we have the principal of that school is aware of our project, and we're certainly eager to find ways in which we can work together and collaborate with the school. But as of right now, it's going to be solely occupied by St. James Health, with the exception of the third floor, which is going to be specialty care services run by RWJ Barnabas Health.
Okay, no, and that was essentially my suggestion, considering that there is a high school across the street, Westside High School, and you may have some students who may be interested in the medical field, and it's a great rendering. So I'm assuming if it comes to fruition, it'd be a great facility for them to have a community collaboration with and so
Oh,
forth.
there's already been discussions with the school as to finding ways in which we can work together. Absolutely.
Excellent. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Trafficante, the floor is yours. You're still on the oath, sir.
Thank you. All right. Quick question for design engineer. Regarding lighting, I believe on page 5 of the Department of Engineering's report to the Planning Board dated August 12th. Item 8, lighting plan, room number 1. Room number 1. According to section 4116.622F, the minimum required illumination level within a pedestrian walkway is 0.5 foot candles. Lighting plan shows a minimum of 0.2 foot candles within the walkway along the east side of the subject site within a right of way for South 14th Street, a minimum of 0.2 foot candles along the west side of the site within the bulk right of way for South 15th Street, and a minimum of 0.3 foot candles near the northwest corner of the subject site and within the bulk right of way for South Orange Avenue. Do you plan to update the lighting to meet the minimum requirements for the city code for pedestrian walkways?
Yeah,
Mr.
absolutely. Yep,
So-
we'll definitely address that and provide a revised lighting design to meet the minimum standards.
All right. Then next item. Again, page 5, item 8, lighting plan, Roman numeral 4. According to section 4116.622A of the Newark zoning land use regs, maximum allowable illumination level at a property line next to residential use is 0.5 foot candles. Lighting plans notes a maximum of 0.7 foot candles along the south property line of the subject site. Mr. Zulagua, is your client prepared or willing to provide hoods or shields or do something to reduce the spillage of lighting on the adjoining lots to the south, especially lot 10, since you do not have a buffer there?
Yeah, we'll provide lighting shields to mitigate that.
Without going below the minimum for the access drive? That's my last question. Again, item 8, page 5, item 8, lighting plan, Roman numeral 5. According to section 41-16-622C of the Newark zoning land use regs, the minimum required illumination level within an access driveway is 0.5 foot candles. Lighting plan indicates a minimum of 0.1 foot candles at the entrance to the proposed 12 feet wide access drive to the parking lot off of South 14th Street, and a minimum of 0.3 foot candles at the exit from the proposed access drive from the outside parking lot to South 15th Street. Can your client provide additional lighting, either a bollard type or some type of lighting there without providing excessive spillage to meet the minimums at the entrance and exits to that driveway, access drive?
Yeah, we'll comply.
Okay.
No problem.
All right. All right. 2 more questions. All right, to sum up, okay, just to clarify, on page 3 of the engineer's report to the board, item 4, site plan, page 3, Roman numeral 3. We asked applicant shall provide testimony to the board regarding disposal of medical waste. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Trash collection shall be outside business hours. Medical waste to be collected inside the building and collected by a private hauler. Is that correct?
Yeah, medical waste will be stored inside the building. Yep.
You know, and there's not a threat of contamination or anything like that, especially in light of things like COVID.
It will be stored according to code.
All right. And then last but not least, your proposed loading zone. Since you're still proposing a pharmacy, right? Is that correct? As part of this application, there is a pharmacy still proposed?
In-house,
Yeah.
this is Steve Cohen, the architect. It's an in-house pharmacy. It's not open to the general public.
Oh, all right. Nevertheless, as a pharmacy, they still require deliveries of medical goods on a daily basis, or not daily, weekly. Is that correct?
I would imagine, yes.
All right. All right. That being said, I assume your proposed loading zone for delivery of medical goods to the pharmacy will be where?
Been through the back.
In the back or on South 15th Street?
In the back, off hours.
All right. And you're going to need relief from the loading space dimensions? There's minimums. If you provide a loading zone, it has to be a certain size.
These are going to be, I believe these deliveries are going to be in small vans. They're not going to be in big trucks.
All right. But, okay. So basically, one of your parking spaces is going to come used as a loading zone. Pretty much.
It might be, they might just, move
Right.
in, drive in, unload the van and keep going.
All right. But nevertheless, you're going to need relief from section 41:8-6-1. If it's not 40 foot long, but I think 10 foot or 12 foot wide, whatever dimensions. Fair to say you won't have that. You don't have that, and I don't think you plan to provide it. Is
Yeah,
that correct?
we'll seek for that variance, just given the
Okay.
nature and operations of the use.
All right. Otherwise, Mr. Zulaga, can your client comply with all the other comments in the Department of Engineering's report to the planning board dated August 12th, 2025?
That's correct. We review and we don't anticipate any issues complying with the requirements. And again, we'll work with the board professionals to address.
All right. No further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trafficante. Commissioners, questions or comments? Commissioner Byers, you got your hand up again?
Yeah, Chair, thank you. I just have a quick question. If it's approval, when do they plan to start working in this project?
Part of it is going to be, and just part of it's going to be subject to us negotiating the purchase of the property from the city of Newark. But I can ask my client when they anticipate starting, but it's contingent on this being approved this evening, as well as working through the the next steps as far as purchasing the property from the city of Newark.
All right, thank you. Yeah, if it's approved and you plan to do, I want to be invited to the grand opening. It's beautiful.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioners, any other questions or comments? Hearing none. Next witness.
Okay. With that, I'll call my third and final witness, Mr. John McDonough.
Good evening, Mr. McDonough. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give shall be truthful?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Please state your name and affiliation for the record.
Sure, my name is John McDonough, and I'm the project planner.
Thank you.
And you're accepted by the board. Please continue.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Mr. McDonough, if you could please explain for the board what you did to prepare for this hearing.
We conducted a standard planning analysis in connection with this application. We reviewed existing conditions, proposed conditions. We looked at the relief that the applicant is seeking as laid out in your professional's letter. Overall, relatively light relief in the context of the overall application and the extreme rate of the public benefit that's going to be provided here. And apply the statutory criteria, which in this case, we're going to apply the flexible C balancing test, where we look at the benefits of the application as a whole, substantially outweighing any detriments with that relief the applicant is asking the board to move on.
Okay, very good. So if you could describe the site from a planning perspective, and feel free to share your screen and present any exhibits that you've prepared.
Okay, so the site will pretty much speak for itself. And again, Carissa, I will get you a copy of this, which I believe, cool, are we A1 still for the record? A2?
We're on A5.
Okay, A5 for the record is a 4-part photo exhibit, just various vantages of the subject site as it looked today. You can see it is a vacant lot. It's on the corner of South Orange Ave and 15th and 16th. And again, a vacant lot, it's cleared, it's flat, it's ideally suited to accommodate the development that's before you. We've got a mix of uses around us, including transformative nature with the new 3-story building coming online, 4-story building actually. You've got a 3-story building that's proposed. So this is good infill development that is compatible with the surrounding land use context. We've got some detached dwellings. We've got the cemetery. We've got the school as we start to pan away. And you can see that as we look at other vantage points as well. And as Co-Chair Witcher said, we do have a very nice mural on the side of this adjacent building that we're going to pay homage to by pulling that as a feature into the building as well, photograph or some other element. Again, you've got the field, you've got the cemetery, you've got the new building coming online. And bear in mind as I go through these, the main relief that the applicant is asking the board to move on is height relief, which is actually very de minimis height relief, less than 3.5 feet. So if we look at the context of the surrounding neighborhood again, this is not going to create a building that's going to overpower the area, but actually is going to blend in nicely, not only with the physical characteristic of the area, but within the confines of the zone scheme as well. The applicant is asking the board to move on setbacks as well, as you just heard through Jonathan's testimony. But that's reasonable here, given the fact that we are essentially following the line on the street and the established lines in the neighborhood as well. And we'll look at that as we have a multi-story building across South Orange Ave as well. And then finally, just the top-down view, again, to show how infilling, going to the setback lines is not going to upset any neighborhood pattern, but actually maintaining good consistency with what we see out there from a physical planning standpoint. The project benefits here are numerous. At the top of the list, the promotion of Purpose A in the land use law, the promotion of public health and welfare is fundamental to planning. It's the very first purpose of the land use law, and that's spot on with what this healthcare use will do. We also see Purpose M, or efficient use of land, taking a undeveloped lot, a vacant lot, putting it back to productive use is spot on with what we see the master plan, a recurring goal over and over again. Purpose I, the promotion of a desirable visual environment. That beautiful building that you saw Stephen show at the outset. And then, of course, Jonathan showed the beautiful landscaping that's going to complement it. Anytime one goes to a medical facility, there's, for most of us, some sort of angst that goes with that. And if we can beautify it with landscaping, as our applicant is doing here, that brings some comfort. And we think our applicant has done a good job in that regard. The applicant is asking the board to move on for the landscaping in the parking lot. Sort of unnecessary when you have a parking lot of only 5 spaces. There's not a lot to break up. And by allowing that parking relief would allow for more landscaping on the perimeter, which we think goes towards the planning goal for a positive and aesthetic desirable visual environment. The list of relief has been hit by Jonathan in terms of the specific. Again, we're looking for height relief. Suffice it to say here, there's nothing about this application that will violate any of the purposes of height control. We're not creating a building here that's going to overpower the corner. It's actually going to nicely anchor and fortify the corner. It is not going to block scenic views. It is not going to create negative shadow effects. It is not going to create a population density that would exceed the carrying capacity of the land. For those reasons, we believe that height relief can be granted without any substantially adverse impacts to the neighborhood. Likewise, for the coverage relief, we think this is an effective blend of what's around it. And then the rest of the relief is predominantly design related to, as I just said, the parking lot landscaping, some insufficient shade trees and buffering. I believe the refuse screening is now going to be compliant through Jonathan's testimony with a 6-foot high fence. And the illumination, again, was addressed as reasonable and appropriate through design expert testimony as well. Also, this application is on the positive side. This is a very, very good application under the balancing. The relief here will be minimal, if any, and I believe the board can move favorably under the C2 as a better zoning alternative for this property. With that, I would offer that the statutory criteria are met and approval is warranted. And Corey, I don't know if there was anything else you wanted me to say.
I don't think I have anything further. I mean, you didn't run through each piece of relief specifically, but I think between Steve's testimony and Jonathan's testimony and the additional variance that Mr. Tropicant picked up regarding the loading zone, I think we've covered it. Are there any questions for Mr. McDonough?
So with respect to the loading zone, relatively short duration here, this is not where you have the big truck coming in that's going to provide food for the whole week or where that truck is on the site for a long time. Smaller trucks, smaller duration would warrant that relief. Smaller vans, I should say, they're not even trucks.
Thank you, Mr. McDonough. Commissioners, any questions or comments regarding this application? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, any persons from the public wishing to speak?
Yes, Chair, I believe we have one.
Okay, let's get that person sworn in.
Rodney, if you could come off of mute and turn your camera on so you can be sworn in.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give this board shall be truthful?
Yes, I do, 100%.
Thank you. Could you please state your name and address for the record?
Rodney Davis, 35 Mulberry Street, Newark, New Jersey.
You have 3 minutes to speak. Floor is yours.
Not 4, only 3.
Keep talking, you have 2.5.
Commissioner and Chair Richardson, I want you to thank you for giving the community a chance to speak, as you always do. I thank you for that. And I agree with Mr. Baez. I can't wait to go to the grand opening on this project. As I do, and a lot of black men do, I had prostate cancer. And because of St. James Health, I caught it early, and I was over to go through the radiation and overcome that. And I think it's going to be a great side for Principal Akbar, West Side High School, and the West Ward. What a great building. as I was lucky to see the renderings, as some of the community got to see the renderings, I said, wow, was my reaction. I think it's going to be a great site for the kids on West Side, a great site for the community, and I'm looking forward to going to the grand opening. Commissioner Richardson.
Thank you, sir.
Well, that was that under 3 minutes?
You did very well.
Thank you, sir.
And duly noted everything that you said, and I concur with everything that's been said in terms of from the commissioners and from the public in terms of this project. It's sorely needed. Couldn't come at a better time. I hope you can hurry up and the owners hurry up and close with the city. I hope it's not prolonged and protracted process. I hope they can get it done in short order, and because it's sorely needed. And I too look forward to it, and I want to be there for the groundbreaking and the grand opening.
Me too, Chair. Me too. Both.
Commissioner Roundtree, you got your hand up?
I too wanted to make sure that I got my little 2 cents in on record, for the chair, Richardson, and to all of my colleagues, co-commissioners. It is amazing because we know that health is wealth. And listen, the groundbreaking is one thing, but it's the ribbon cutting that I'm looking forward to. Yes, we want to see the shovel and we want to see the building going up, but it's when the ribbon is cut that we can walk through the door for those services to be provided to our people in the community. And St. James is doing such a phenomenal job throughout our communities, not just one. So thank you for all of you that are on, that have a hand in this and making sure that this is going to be powerful, beautiful, and improving the quality of life on the health side for our residents. Thank you so very much, Chair Richardson, for allowing me this moment.
Absolutely. So, now I need a motion.
Motion.
Second it.
Moved by Commissioner Roundtree, second by Commissioner Byers. Roll call, Madam Secretary.
Commissioner Purdy,
Absent.
Commissioner Baez,
Yes.
Commissioner Timmons,
Yes.
Commissioner De Silva,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott Roundtree,
Yes.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Co-Chair Richard,
Yes.
Chair Richardson.
Yes, your application has been approved. Good luck.
Thank you.
Have a great evening.
You too. Thank you, everyone.
Let's get to, we have minutes from July and August, I do believe.
Yes.
So everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes, July 21st and August 4th. Any corrections, comments, concerns? Hearing none, I need a motion to approve the minutes.
So move.
Approve the minutes.
Seconds.
Moved by Commissioner Timmons, second by Commissioner Roundtree. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. So moved. Mr. Beck, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have 4 resolutions to be memorialized this evening. The first is from July 21st, CPB 2516. The next 3 are from August 4th, CPB 2541, CPB 2528, and lastly, CPB 25-27. All those commissioners that voted affirmatively are permitted to memorialize same. Anybody who has any objections, please put them on the record. Otherwise, they will be memorialized.
Thank you, sir. And our next meeting is September 8th. Hope to see all of you there. Stay vigilant. Protect yourself. Make sure you're aware of all your surroundings at all times. There are crazy people out there. Don't get caught up in no nonsense. And stay safe out there, everyone. Have a good night.